I'm here with Natalie.
Hello, my name is Callie Bird, and I'm one of the other deputy electoral officers.
So tonight we begin with the first of three nomination meetings. We begin here in Montreal Lake tonight. Tomorrow at the same time, we're doing five, and it won't take as long as tonight, but we'll be in Little Red. And then on Wednesday night, we'll be in Prince Albert for those nomination meetings. Now, I'd like to first begin with a prayer, and I have Amelia Beatty Hunt, one of the elders from Prince Albert, if she could just say our opening prayer for us. Regrets that our Chief Electoral Officer is not present for tonight, and neither is the Ellen Burgess. They're both up in the province now. Well, Ellen should be leaving the province. But of course, our Chief Electoral Officer and the company in Montreal that we work for, Tommy and I, they're from Victoria, British Columbia. So tonight, for the nominations, we're going to begin with the candidates for chief. And if they're all three of them are here, we'll be able to open that one, and then we'll close them. We'll be able to close them so all three of them are here. And thereafter, we have one urban candidate from Prince Albert that I see that wants to do his speech here, and then they'll be followed by the Montreal Lake candidates. And we've got a list of 13, I think it is. Oh, there's 12. Sorry, 12. So they each have a chance to be nominated, and then to be seconded, and they'll have also a chance to speak if they choose to for 5 minutes for the nominators and the seconders. It's not imperative that they do. The candidate, however, should do their presentation for a 15-minute period, or up to 15 minutes. For some, 15 minutes, it doesn't seem very long for them, and they'll be rushed. But we do have to have, I didn't even think about a timing mechanism. I wasn't too sure, I wasn't too serious on how the time, but we offer them 15 minutes. So I think there's one candidate for the Montreal Lake urban, one of the councillors. That won't be present. One of the candidates is not here, but with permission, he doesn't have to present it. He has a medical condition that prevented him from being here. So, of course, the Chief Electoral Officer has approved that, and that would be for the councillor position. That's Frank Roberts. He won't be here tonight. With that, I'm getting to that age where I need my $1.25 glasses every once in a while. The print is fine. We got a font of 8 on it, so it's quite fine. And that's my excuse. So, I'd like to hereby call this nomination meeting to order at 5:18. And I'd like to read some excerpts from section 13.5 and 13.4.6. In that section 13.4, subsection 6, no elector shall nominate or second a nomination for more than one person. Section 13.5, at the start of each nomination meeting, the chief electoral officer shall announce that the nomination of candidates is open to only those electors who submitted declarations of intent by the specified time and who are qualified to run pursuant to this act. So every candidate had as part of the package, a letter of intent to run, and there was some nominator and seconder forms and an acceptance letter. So as of March 2nd, those were actually closed. The electoral officer deemed that the people that are running that qualified. With that, okay, I hereby open the floor for nominations for chief. Okay, is it, nominations for chief?
Good evening, my name is Norman Ross, and I'm nominating attention for the chief of Montreal Lake Sk.
Thank you, Norman. Is there a seconder?
My name is Gladys Charles from Middle Red River Reserve, and I second Norman's nomination for Edward Chief.
Thank you to the elders for the prayer this morning. Thank you for this morning and this afternoon and this evening. I thank my nominator Norman and my president Gladys for seconding. A whole different process this time. I know that it was before we used to nominate and decide after who was going to speak up first. I wanted to go ahead. I thank the committee for doing what they can. I know that there's policies and procedures are being followed. I look forward to the next couple of years. You know, it's been out in politics for about 6 years now. And the system has changed quite a bit. I remember this hall used to be so full. You used to be excited. You don't know who was going to nominate who. And but then there was people that nominated 10 people, 20 people, and that was changing. And I think that's good for our governance that we have a policy and procedure. We've got the Finance and Management Act, we've got the Executive Act, we have an Election Act. And I think that's something that governs our people. And our people are the ones that decide on that. And I know I've seen documents out there I don't know when they're fully passed, and I know a lot of people have a lot of questions out there, and I have a lot of questions too. But you know what, it's up to you to give that power back to the membership. They decide. I know today, in the next couple of weeks, I know it's a 3-week period this time. Last time it used to be a week. I know that's a lot of time for our membership to be without leadership. I think that's something that's to be considered in the future too, because I know a lot of things can happen in the next 3 weeks. And hopefully that some of these changes that were brought will be ratified and maybe be better for our membership. There are a lot of issues out there. I know we've got a lot of addictions we've got to deal with. It's very heartbreaking when you have addictions, and when you have a niece that's addicted. And how do we address those issues? By coming together and talking to these individuals, not putting them to the side. I talk to my niece at least once a week, and she struggles with her addictions. Crystal meth is very, very hurtful to our people. It's breaking a lot of families. And mental health is another one. Everybody deals with that, with loss and grief. I lost my brother not too long ago. I lost my mother, I lost my dad, I lost my sister. Very well alone. But I got my brothers and sisters on my dad's side. I got relatives and family that help me along. So you know, there's a lot of challenges out there. We've got to take it one step at a time and take it back to membership and decide how we're going to deal with those issues. I know it's a big challenge. I know that the system, I always felt comfortable in our system. I feel sometimes it fails our membership. Our membership doesn't seem to have a voice. That's something we need to be back from. And even the criteria, there's some definitions that I couldn't understand. Last year I didn't put my hat forward. It says very tall and equivalent. There's no definition of equivalent. But then I went back to school. I got my grade 12. I graduated in May. I want to thank the committee for that part. If it wasn't for that one little clause, I wouldn't have went back to school. I didn't go back to school just for that. I want to be a role model for the kids that are dropping out. You're never too old to continue your education, to make your life better, not for yourself, but for your family. And education is very important. You know, I hear people talk about education our next buffalo. And if that is our buffalo, we got to lead by example. That's why I went down and got my grade 12. And I'm glad I did. It wasn't easy trying to figure out the suffragassa by circle and all this other stuff, that terminology that they have in high school. I remember, even ultrasound, all this, it was so difficult going back at my age to remember all the stuff that you learned in high school. You know, but I'm glad that you got my grade 12 and just to be an example to our young people. Now, I've got a lot of young people that are getting close to graduation. It's a good time to do it now, before you're too old. You're never too old. I'm an example of that. But you know, I look forward to seeing what the issues are. I hear people in the last couple of days phoning me, knowing that I'm running for chief. And I don't take rumors. There's a lot of allegations out there, but I just listen, see what their concerns are. That's something that we've got to bring back to our membership. There's all the battles that we have. We can't do this alone as leaders. You know, we have to be there for the people, not for ourselves. You know, I've had this challenge the last couple of weeks. Did I put my hat forward or not? And I didn't qualify. I didn't think I was going to qualify. So much the change in our election system. There's a lot of great people out there. People have great experience. But I think we're going to look at our whole election act yet. You know, I know that I get calls from young people. How do some qualify and some don't? Those are the challenges that we have. I'm not just speaking. I've been out of politics for a little while, but my heart's still in the right place in this community of Montreal. Montreal Lake, community of Little Red, our Timber Bay, our ribbon members. And I want to thank Conrad and Joyce for putting their names forward. And all the people that have put their names forward for council. It's not an easy task. When it's all said and done, it's going to be decided by the membership. I, for one, will not challenge the decision of our membership. As we have spoken. I remember the first time I ran for council in Little Red, I got second place. I lost out by 1 vote. I didn't challenge that. It was the membership that made that decision. That's very important. I don't have a campaign manager. I don't have any pamphlets. I'm not offering any dinners. People know me. I'm always talking, I'll always be open. I'm approachable. I'll give you my number. It's 940-6862. But I won't answer unknown numbers. I tell my uncle about this, and this is why I don't answer those. 2 terms ago, I was trying to be blackmailed by an individual. Blocked their numbers. Well, I got a file with the city police. It took them a while. They found out who that individual was. And they still have a file there, so that's why I don't answer unidentified numbers. Because he wasn't used to deal with that individual. Somebody I knew, somebody I thought was a friend, tried blackmailing me. We shouldn't have that kind of politics. Hopefully this is a clean, straightforward politics. You know, it all brings down our people and we show the dark side of one individual. You know, it's been quite the challenge in the last couple of years. People asking questions, people wanting answers. And that's what I've always done. I've always been at assemblies. I remember the last assembly we had, and COVID got in the way also. But I think our membership still need those answers, need those questions asked, those answers to come to our membership. There's a lot of challenges I know our leadership have gone through. Still take the time to tell our membership, give them information as to what's going on. I know the feeling Frank's going through right now. I had a heart attack last year also. I had one stent put in. I was rushed to my place, straight to Saskatoon, had my surgery. Took a week off and went back to school and finished my education, which I'm proud of. These are my grandkids and my friends. I graduated. It might take me a long time, but I do have that diploma. And that's great. That's being an example for our young people. And it's not easy. It's hard. It's not easy to get a job without that little piece of paper. You can have all the experience in the world, but in the white society, that little piece of paper telling you that you've reached a grade 12 is a must in most places. I don't know what else to say. You know, it's just approachable, and a lot of stuff that's happened in our First Nation is why I put my hat forward. There's a lot of challenges, and I believe if we bring those challenges together and deal with those issues, it make it a lot easier. It's not easy. Even for our elders, they're standing today and look around. None of those elders that were at the meetings are no longer here. A lot of our young people are no longer here. We've got to deal with the addictions. We've got to deal with the mental health issues that are in front of us. And it's not easy dealing with family that are addicted, families that are going through a mental crisis. Everybody does that and deals with it in their own way. You know, addictions is different. It's not just alcohol, it's not drugs. I have an addiction. I've gone to the casino for over a year now, that's an addiction. Bingo is an addiction. What kind of addiction you go through? I was drank 23 years, it would be 23 years today I could drink it. I drank a year ago with my brother. My brother said he wanted a farewell party. And he said, sure, drink one night with him. It was supposed to last a month, and him being 6 years with us. I feel blessed my brother John survived that long. But the day he found out, the doctors couldn't do nothing for him. As we were driving back, it was quiet. He said, brother, I don't know what I'm going to do. Our grandkids, what are you going to do without me? He's always been the biggest advocate. He's always been the one I go to. He always gave me advice. And the people that know my brother John, and give me advice, he was blunt. He'd tell you the way it is. He wouldn't sugarcoat anything. And we're the second term now, and I asked him, I said, John, do you want to run? I don't have no pamphlets, I don't have no buttons, nothing. He looks at me and said, Edward, how long have you been chief? 3 years. Well, people don't know who you are in 3 years. Why the hell run? And that's when I didn't have no pamphlets, no ribbons, no buttons, no nothing. I remember the elders laughed when I dreamt about my mom that night. And when he came to my speech, I think somebody might remember, I said, all I have to offer you is me. And that's all I have. Today again, all I have to offer you is me. You know, I'm always willing to listen. Yes, we might have differences, but we got to take the time to look at each other. I know there's a lot of rumors out there. But nobody's ever talked to me. Nobody's asked me if I stole money. Nobody's ever asked me if I did this or that. Nobody's ever come to ask me. It's easy to talk about people, to ruin somebody's reputation like us. But it also happens the other way. Your reputation can be ruined by the truth also. You know, I know that, you know, we have issues in our community and our people are hurting. We need a way out. We should turn them away. We should help us one way or the other. People have addictions. My niece, I try to help her with. She goes right back. She does good for me. And which other ones we need to? We need to focus on our young people. This is the 7th generation. We're losing our 7th generation to crystal meth. And that's something that's very hurtful. It hurts. I know that there's probably nobody in this hall today that's not being affected by crystal meth and the addictions that we deal with. Our family members, our loved ones deal with. There's a lot of challenges out there, but I know we can do it together. Yes, we might not see eye to eye, and people might not like my leadership ways, but I never once did anything to hurt our community. Everything we did, I've done for the betterment of our people. The one mistake I did make is I started Montreal Lake Business Ventures before getting to the business, to the membership. I just started it. It's a process. I need a way for our people to look forward to the future. And that's something that we need to continue working on. Yes, I didn't do that right. It was certainly a process. I put the horse in front of or the carriage in front of the horse. It should be the other way around. I think our business ventures is being successful. And I hope it continues to be successful for the betterment of our people. So you're looking at me and I'm running out of time? Oh, I said that. Thank you. And I ask for your support. God bless.
All right, we can move on to the next candidate for chief. Is there a nominator to nominate a second candidate? Any of the first nominator in there? Come on.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming. Let's start off here. My name is Warren Beatty, and I'm a nominator for Conrad Bird. for candidate chief for Montreal Lake Nation. I'd like to thank you all for coming and for attending the nominations for the chief of Montreal Lake and council of Montreal Lake Nation. I'd first like to acknowledge the elders, the visitors, and the travelers that have come here to Montreal Lake. It's a travel to get here from our communities, and I really appreciate the rides that people have given people just to show up here. We're all here for one common goal. We're here to choose leadership that will ensure the success and integrity and accountability to our Cree Nation. To choose leadership that will ensure our success, our integrity, and our accountability to our Cree Nation. I have nominated Conrad Bird for that reason. I'll give you a short biography of Chief Candidate Conrad Bird, beginning with his decades of experience in business, accounting, management, entrepreneur. He owns his own businesses, he used to, but he's come back and he's worked for us. Conrad Bird is an educated man with a degree in business. He's also going for his master's degree. He's got years of experience working with other First Nations, as well as the First Nation of Montreal. Chief Candidate Conrad Bird will bring his experience and ability to lead into for our Cree Nation. We need a chief that will fight the battles for our First Nation, fight to make our communities safer and prosper. When the time comes to sign on the dotted line, which is a very important time for Chief of Council, to sign on that line, I know Conrad will do that for us. If it's going to improve our community, Conrad will help us with that. I believe that Conrad, as the next chief, will bring Montreal Lake to a new level of independent and community business success. We need to help make Montreal Lake Nation a place where we're no longer dependent on federal funding, where we don't accept the handouts, where we make our own future, stepping our way towards self-governance and self-determination. Our ancestors taught us that, and that's something that I know with Conrad will keep going. Conrad's commitment to the community, inclusion and involvement, which has been his focus as a band manager. He's worked here for many years with us. He'll give the voice back to the people by involving each program committee and managers in band decisions and goals. These are values that need to be restored, and I believe with Conrad Bird as chief, our community will become a stronger, truly united community. The importance of accountability and transparency in First Nation government should be a priority. Making our reporting systems policies are followed, informing band membership of all community planning and initiatives, and give the community a true picture of where we are financially, economically, and the stability of our First Nation. This will restore trust in our leadership, in our rebuilding process of rebuilding accountability to our band membership. We talk about accountability all the time. I believe that Conrad Bird as our next chief will make sure community members are informed, updated, and rebuild the trust of leadership and rebuilding relationships, which will ensure the Montreal Lake Cree Nation will be on a path to successful independence from government handouts. The last few years have been tough on Montreal Lake, tough on urban members, off reserve and on reserve alike. Conrad will assist in uniting our people with diligence and make sure all of us are cared for, make sure more of us are working. I'm proud to be Montreal Lake Cree members. Our youth, women, and elders have to be involved. I believe Conrad can do this for our Cree Nation. I believe this, our team believes this, and I ask each of you as board members, believe this, and truly vote for a stronger community. Vote for a united community. And most importantly, on March 31st, please vote for Conrad Bird as the next chief of Montreal Lake. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to listen to the candidate speeches for Chief of Council. Thank you to the election committee and their continued hard work that will be happening in the next 3 weeks, and to the council's volunteers that help make this a success. It's now my great honor to introduce to you Montreal Lake Chief Candidate. Let's welcome him to the podium, Mr. Conrad Bird.
his speech. We need the secretary to just come up here for a moment and second that nomination and carry on.
My name is Alan Conrad Mcleod, and I second the nomination for chief for a member.
Thank you very much. If you can come up here and do your presentation, thank you very much.
Is it a little short here? Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I just want to say, I want to just thank my nominator and my seconder for the nomination to be your next leader. And the other thing too, I just want to say hello to all the relatives and friends, and also the elders and everybody else that's come up here to hear what we're going to do as a candidate. So, without further ado, I humbly am seeking your support to be your leader. I have been your band manager for 4 years now. We were challenged with a debt, and we have successfully came through. As your chief leader and leader, I ask to continue this journey of nation building. This includes each and every one of you. I pray for the wisdom, discernment, and the understanding for the benefit of our nation. Yes, we are challenged with many issues and circumstances. I will be your voice, and with your support, we'll need to bring our elders home. We'll need to bring our kids home. We'll need to help out and support relatives battling their addictions. When we need to explore other ways to house our relatives, we'll need to provide work, job experience, business ownership. We need to find ways for food security. Most of these challenges that we faced was through COVID. Everyone knows we experienced it as we weren't prepared for it. And looking forward, we need to prepare for a lot of these things for our children, if not for ourselves. I say this because one of the biggest things that I'm going to say to you today, and that is, what you do today will echo into eternity. What you decide today, and what you decide on the 31st, will also echo into eternity. And that's a quote from the Gladiator. A lot of it is called self-sustainment. Self-sustainment is basically a combination of how a nation moves together and how they work together to achieve one goal, and that is for the benefit of the nation. Yes, we are challenged, and some might ask, can we do this in 4 years? Probably not, some might say. But is it our vision to help and support our relatives by extending our hands and to help each other? Then as your chief and leader, it will be my desire, my pleasure, and honor to meet those challenges with your support. If elected, I will include elders and youth to meetings. We'll have, once again, band assemblies. And yes, there will be a platform to ask questions and voice your concerns without the fear of being reprisal or without the fear of having somebody say you're wrong. But at the end of the day, that is where nation building is you've got to ask those questions, those hard questions. Those are the things that are going to make us a strong nation. But if we keep quiet and we keep not addressing them, then we continue to do and what we suffer through. That's what happens without asking those people. But what I do ask, on that platform, if you do have concerns, please be open-minded and available to help find solutions. It's easy to blame, it's easy to point, it's easy to complain. But it's a lot harder to get involved to make that difference. That is the challenge. So today, that's what I said to myself. I want to put myself in that challenge. I want to be able to work for you as a nation. I worked for you for 4 years. as I could in order to get us where we are today. So as we move forward into nation building, let's leave no one behind. This has been a big challenge for us because a lot of us, we've left a lot of people behind, and only a few benefit, and a lot of majority don't benefit. We need that people to benefit as much as we can. Everybody to benefit as a nation. Doesn't matter who you voted for, doesn't matter who you supported. At the end of the day, it's for the benefit of the nation. And being that way, I've always maintained that way. I've remained the same thing as I did as a brand manager. I always told the staff, I don't care if somebody said something to you 25 years ago when you can't forgive them. You do what we're to do and what we have to do, and that is serve the people. That is our job, regardless. And as your chief and leader, that's exactly what I'm doing, the same thing. It doesn't matter who you supported or where or what you said. I will still service the community because that's who we are as a nation. And that's who we are when we build a nation. And that's how we're going to continue building. And if we continue building that nation, I'm sure our children will benefit. And that is why I say to you, what you do today, what you do on March 31st will echo into eternity. Will echo into our kids. A prime example is this. Somebody asked me, what are you going to do when you're in elder? Where are you going to stay? Where are they going to put you? Well, my answer was, if we don't start doing something today, then I'm sure I'm going to be staying somewhere in a strange place. That's the reason why I say you bring the elders home. What you do today starts today. What you vote and how you vote for it starts today. Because those are the main things that we ask, and we ask that for our children as well too. So we ask that for our kids, ones that were cared, ones we lost in care. So that's what the difference in that one. Our leadership is not so much about trying to win an election. This leadership is about trying to lead a nation, not win an election. We want to lead. And so with your help and your support, that's what I'll need at the end of the day. But if you choose otherwise, then I understand completely. But also at the same time too, I'll also respect that as well. I am somebody that you'll find that I'm very respectful to the elders. I'm very respectful to people. And even when I'm disappointed, I'm still very respectful. And you'll find that as me as a leader as well too. You'll find that. Sometimes we got 7 minutes, now I'm going to start rambling. Just kidding. So anyways, I didn't come up here to actually ramble, I just came up here to actually ask for your I hate to say that I already asked my wife for a hand in marriage, for your support to lead the nation. So that's what I just wanted to say because I told Warren when he did his presentation, I don't know if I could live up to that in September. But I mean, a lot of it has been a soul-searching opportunity for me this year. 3 times I said no to this position. 3 times I said no because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy what I do, finding money, creating budgets, making programs work, and helping out people. Even creating corporations, non-profit and for-profit. I like doing that. I enjoy doing that. That's what I do. And even as your leader, we'll continue to do that process. Because a lot of it is that we are in a stage of our lives where we have to realize that when we are funded to a particular amount of money, we only report to that amount of money. But we're also very stuck in areas where we can't support those areas. So we have to generate different ideas, different ways to accommodate that. We have to. And as a nation, and I'm proud of being a nation of Montreal Lake because we are very resilient and we're very adaptable. We've gone through a lot, but yet we're still here looking for the future, looking towards the future. That is the best thing that I've seen so far, and that's what I like about being a member of the Montreal Lake Nation. And I hope you are too. And I hope we continue that journey together, and I hope we continue that focus together, so that when we do go forward, at the end of the day, what we've achieved is basically to show the results. I had the benefit of working with another nation, and I took a contract with another nation as basically their finance director. And I've learned so much in that area because they're totally different. Their structures are different. Their employee structures, their revenues are different. Their sources of revenues are different. Everything that we know and experience here, they're doing something different. That is the beauty of having to go out and have an experience of working from other nations. That is the other experience. I welcome working with another nation because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn other ways. I wanted to learn new ways. I wanted to explore my horizons. Because a lot of it is sometimes we get too narrow vision when we only see what we want to see. And that's what hurts our nation, because we only want to see what we want to see. So we have to open up and look at different ways. As much as we are challenged, I'm going to further challenge each and every one of you. That when you guys go home and you guys think about the election process, I want you to understand one thing. When I pray for the wisdom, discernment, and understanding for the benefit of our nation, that's exactly how I pray every night. The wisdom to know the difference. The discernment, knowing that and understanding that difference. And understanding, meaning you understand what we are looking for, and that is basically the primary goal of the benefit of the nation. We are very finite in the dollars that we're given every year. We're very finite in how we address every dollar. So again, as your leader, finding new monies and finding new sources and new reports is what we need to do. And with your help, by you voting for me to be in that seat, I will do that for you for each and every day. And if you're out there and you need a business done, that's what I'll help out as well. Because we want to do self-sufficiency. We want to include everybody in our development, because not everybody can be addressed with our fundings. Not everybody can be addressed with our corporations. And not everybody has a contract, and not everybody also has a business. Understanding that concept is basically very important to get our nation forward. So that's what I wanted to say today. My mouth is getting so dry. I don't know if I can get something to drink here. And after about many years of watching the Kansas City Chiefs, my wife finally made me a Kansas City fan. So we won 2 years in a row, so it was the Kansas City Chiefs. So I keep wearing my hat all the time, so that's what I wanted. But at the end of the day, we're looking at our nation. We look at what we came through. And we're not here to complain about the past. We're not here to complain about anything. We are here to help you direct us to the future, to see the future, to embrace the future, and not to fear it. And so, if that's what you feel about me and that is fear, then I'm thinking I'm speaking to the wrong ears. I am looking at it from you, looking at it as confidence, as trust, transparency, accountability. everything that I did for you guys in the last 4 years. That's what I have. And one of the things I miss the most is I miss those days when my grandfather had all the elders at our house, and all they did was serve them tea and I heard them laugh. I haven't seen that in years. And then also at the end of the day, I've seen family members, elders, shipped away, only to die because they're lonely. This is the reason why you're bringing them home. And so with your support, thank you very much.
We have one more candidate for chief, so if we have a nominator, please.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here, and also want to thank God for allowing us to wake up and see another beautiful day. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Tina Nelson, and I have lived in Montreal Lake throughout my entire life. I am here to nominate to re-elect Joyce McLeod for Chief of Montreal Lake Cree Nation. I have known and worked with Joyce during her term in office and have always found her dependable, efficient, and a good listener. In fact, I have never worked with a person who gives as much attention to detail as she does. Joyce demonstrates an extraordinary commitment to her community, and along with surrounding PA Urban, Little Red, Timber Bay, Weaquin areas, as well as to the general public. Joyce takes it upon herself to provide exceptional support and service to Montreal Lake band members. She discerns quickly their individual needs and moves efficiently to provide key information, recommendations, or directions. Joyce is the kind of person who gives to give. She takes time out of her busy schedule to meet with people either through phone calls or just to meet and discuss concerns. As the program manager, she showed me how to juggle ups and downs and inspired me to never stop giving. Joyce is helpful, caring, resourceful, and happy to offer service no matter the task. She often performs above and beyond and recently offered her expertise and planning skills to navigate a job search to the point of providing detailed itineraries for several young individuals during her time as a teacher. Even though this was not required of her, she did so willingly and cheerfully shared a good relationship with people, young and old. She is a fantastic teammate, always cheerful and exceptional in everything she does. Her quick wit, attention to detail, and loyalty to the communities of Montreal Lake, 106A and 106B, she has endeared her to her colleagues. She is a true champion for higher education with a tireless commitment to serving our community. Through many changes in leadership, Joyce McLeod has made a difference within the last 3 years, exemplified the mission of all program dollars, and has positively impacted the people of our community. I believe that her experience and personality will offer new ideas. Above all, I believe her most important job will be to listen to you and to communicate with you regularly. This selection for MLCN Chief and Council presents us with a clear choice. It is a choice between continuing things by electing leaders who bring fresh ideas and perspectives. Today we will be talking about the important things that concern us as a nation, like the quality of our education, our mental health, our housing, our social development, our sports and recreation, etc. I think the most valuable change we can make as a nation is ensuring that our programs is filled with individuals who strive for accomplishments. As you can see, the future depends on our ability to work together. Cooperation and teamwork will get us far. Vote for Joyce. Her skills, knowledge, willingness to help others, and dedication to our communities makes her an exceptional nominee for Chief Incumbent of Montreal Lake Cree Nation. As a team, we can achieve great things together. On March 31st, 2023, vote Joyce McLeod for Chief. Thank you. Thank you for all listening.
Dee, I'm here to second the nomination for Joyce McLeod for Chief. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dina and Jason. All right, if I can have the candidate for chief to do her presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good evening, our membership of the great nation of Montreal Lake Sk, the treaty number 6 and the traditional land of Woodland Cree, the Hinawak. It's been 1 week, I think, since I've been here talking to the women. But first of all, I want to acknowledge the Montreal Lake for bringing us together here to exercise our vote. And our treaty right to participate in this election. Women have come a long ways. You know, there was years and years ago when we weren't even allowed to vote. There was time when we weren't even allowed to vote to open a bank account. There was even time when we had to lose our status because we married a non-Indigenous person. Those times are gone. Women are still struggling today. We still have people that are struggling, you know, murdered and missing women. And we're Saskatchewan nice now. You know, we've come a long way, and yet we have so much far to go. I also want to announce our elder Amelia Beatty that came from Prince Albert, BC Muskagawa, to come and say our prayers for us, to start us in a good way. Thank you, Elder. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the prayer. I also want to acknowledge my nominator, Tina Nelson, my seconder, Jason Valentine, for your trust, confidence, and for me to seek re-election as chief. It is a blessing to see so many candidates run for the council. It is a 24-hour job, and it's taken a lot of, and taking care of those that are in charge. We have a population of 4,308. Let us send out, one of our candidates, Frank James. I called him this morning on my way to the reserve here. I called him, asked him how he was doing. He said he had a heart attack, but he was doing well. He had a couple of things. He's trying to rest. So, you know, you think about the people that are the sick people that are in the hospital that can't be here. We think about the people that are struggling on the street, our band members that are struggling on the street in the city, and even our homes, our kids that are foster kids that are struggling in the cities, and foster homes. We think about those. We think about our women that are incarcerated. We think about those, you know, because there's a lot of our families that are out there, domestic. And sometimes it's not all their fault. Sometimes it's all about the intergenerational trauma. You know, there's a reason why people drink. There's a reason why people are addicted to drugs and alcohol, and that's because they're hurting. It's because they're hurting because they come from the residential schools, their parents, their grandparents. My dad residential I know how abusive he was back home. I know that. And so all these people here, sometimes you look at them, you wonder. You keep them out, you know, because you know our people are hurting. So, and even not even for the residential schools and the day schools, you keep them out, you keep them out, oh, yeah, day schools, you come in at timber day schools, you know, think about those. This past term has been a challenge with our pandemic. I am very grateful that we had a super great team who worked very hard to make the best decisions for you, the families, the elders, the elders, the youth, always forever working with the youth, accommodating the youth, and also our children, and delegating responsibility and empowerment to do their best. I have a good team. I had a good team, and we worked very hard. We worked 24 hours, 24/7. If there was a sudden death, it's the chief and council that have to be there. If there was anything emergency, a crisis team, we had to be there. If there's something, if there's a forest fire or anything emergency in the community, it's us that we have to be there. A lot of times, you know, if we don't rest, we lose out. It's just hard. It's very hard. You kind of don't even have time for your family because you're always out there. Because you have to work for the people. Because even now, for those of you who don't believe, who don't know me, and don't know my personal profile, my name is Joyce McLeod, and my mom and dad, my dad's name was John Nadahal, was raised from Little Red, certainly grandfather. Close to me, and my mom was raised in a trial line. My mom was raised and barely finished her grade 1 by Mr. Wade, whoever Mr. Wade was. And then my dad finished grade 6 at Duck Lake Residential School before he ran away in Anupimitsore. I live a very active and healthy lifestyle. I practice whatever sport there is. I played. I also live and respect the traditional way of life. And I say this because I was brought up in the trot line. And I was shown, I was 14 years old when I first put my snare on my caribou. Then I became a trapper. I believe this is the only way, when we talk about traditional way of life, this is the only way we are going to heal. It's through the land-based teachings. It's by going back to our traditional medicine. When we had the pandemic, COVID, there was a lot of people in different communities that relied on the scout juices, because we had to. That's how we survived. That's how we survived. That's what every plant, every animal is medicinal, and we have to go back to our roots. We have to go back to that. So I'm very thankful. You want to know with Jared. I'm very thankful for the Vice Chief, Dean Henderson, and Jared, and Joe, and Larissa. I'm very thankful for that education team that they have taught our children. We instilled the knowledge for our children to go practice the traditional ways, to take them hunting, take them fishing, medicine picking, even moose hide making. When the Ross women passed on, that's when he left their. That's when we lost that tradition. The moose hide making. Today, today we have that because they brought Jared brought back that tradition for us. I believe that our values and traditions are given to us by the Creator, and that we should live in harmony with the natural world. I also believe that we have our inherent right. It's an inherent right. Because inherent rights come from the Creator. I say, We also have an inherent right to self-government under Section 35 of the Constitutional Act. And this is important. This is important for us, for our students, to learn about the treaties. Just 2 weeks ago, on February 9th, we had a Treaty 6 Woodland Cree celebrations. And that was the very first time the Woodland Crees did something like that. And people were grateful. You can honestly walk around here. You know, the students were happy, the teachers were happy, everybody was happy because it was another historic event that was planned by the committee. The safety in the community. We've had 3 meetings in total. With a total in the community to help with the various resources from our knowledge keepers, the RCMP, the community members. Today we are still searching for answers for our murdered and missing families. There is no justice unless we know what happened to our families, our members, our friends. That's why safety in the community is important for me. And as a former RCMP officer, I also believe that, you know, there has to be justice. If there's no justice, we can't allow that to continue in our communities. People have to be safe. Our elders have to be safe. Our youth have to be safe. Family is very important as a mother. I'm a mother and a grandmother, and I'm also an adopted mother. I've also adopted and fostered many kids during my time in Montreal Lake here. I value not only my family, but also to know families in our community, because in the end, we're all related. Raising a family can be a challenge in today's world with all the technology and mental health issues that our youth are facing, our children are facing. That was discipline. Today, you can't even do that. At the notes, it's awesomeness, you know, right away, every single name. So there's different ways of disciplining your children. They talk about the education. The education and the training opens the doors for everything. For me, I have my degree in education. I also have my degree in arts and sciences. I said I've come a long ways. I've taught everywhere from Saskatchewan to Alberta to Northwest Territories, and I've also taught here. And I also taught here, and I was a guidance counselor, so I know I like dealing with the youth. I get along with the youth. When they play soccer, you know, I try to support them. When they win the summer games, I go and support them, because as leaders, we have to do that. We have to support our children. The chief and council are out there to find capital projects and training, but we need our members to be able to work. We have to train for them. We have people coming in from different communities, and yet we're still short electricians. We're still short plumbers. You know, what are we going to do if those people are out? We need to train our people. We have to push them. We have a health center that's going to be open in August, middle of August. But you know that this is one of the counselors' baby. He's working on it for 5 years, so I'm going to leave it at that. We also have they'll be ready in mid-August, so that's something. You know, it's been 5 years since this opened, and it wasn't until we met with the Department of Sk that gave us some extra money that we needed, because after COVID, all the prices went up, everything went up. So we had to get an extra 1.5 million from Sk. The PAGC Women's Shelter is going to be under construction in September and October. Shirley, Shirley's sitting here. I also want to acknowledge Shirley and former counselors in BBT people that, okay? Women's Shelter, we also have an RCMP detachment, and all young men, because, you know, I'm I'm gonna leave it up to the vice chief to work about, to do that, and also the new school. I said, I keep coming here, and I keep telling people, Saturday I was sitting here, and I was playing bingo, celebrating my 81st birthday, and I see a big fat mouse running out. I said, holy smokes. Thankfully somebody killed it. But you know what, we can't, you know, this is why we need a new school. And and that was funny, at least I was just chasing it around. So the new high school, you know, it's come, the plant started, a seed was planted, and then from there, it blossomed. I'm gonna let the vice chief talk about that, because that's his baby. For me, as a leader, I delegate, and I empower the team, I empower counselors. So, leadership is about having a vision, responsibility. It's not about power. As a team with former council, we have accomplished three claims. Thousand Plows, Prince Albert National Park, timber claims, Little Red, all of those have been accepted. They're at ISK. Okay? So it was as a delegate on March 30th, I humbly ask you for support because, you know, we need to continue. We need to move forward, not backwards. It said.
So having received all eligible nominations for chief, I hereby close the floor for nominations for chief. I hereby open the floor for nominations for councilman.
Sorry, it's a little bit of a hiccup in the schedule here. There was an approval by the chief electoral officer to hear the urban council that had requested to come out here, and it was approved earlier today with our discussion with the deputy electoral officer. So if I could just have the councillor from urban, along with your delegation of nominator and seconders to come up here. And then we'll carry on to the next section with the 12 Montreal Lake candidates.
My name is Ivy, I'm nominating Donna Beatty for urban council.
Okay, thank you, Ivy. A seconder for the urban position.
Maria Bailey Hunt. And I second Ivy's nomination.
Okay, thank you very much, Ivy. And we got Beatty Hunt for second. I have the candidate, Cree.
Well, I'd like to thank the elders and everyone for electoral officers and second up. My name is Tommy Beatty. I'm just going to introduce myself here. Well, I was born in Saskatoon. Was raised the majority of my life in Prince Albert. Was raised, stayed a little bit in Guayacua for about 4 years. I graduated from Cree Community High School in Prince Albert. And down the road from there, I graduated from high school at Western Public High School. I was in my third year of studies in university, trying to become a teacher, business education. studies. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go through student loan. There's nothing else I can do. Had my own place in Prince Albert, I paid rent there and everything for the last 10 years, since I was 18. And yeah, never been in trouble with the law. I am a single parent, no kids. Oh, sorry, single guy, no kids. And I attribute all of these successes to my time spent in organized sports. And in fact, the first organized sport I was in was actually here in Montreal Lake. We practiced in the ring down the road. I originally started skating, not in organized sports, just on we had just when I could reach by Montreal Lake. And yes, I would like to expand that, as I do not think there is a hockey team or a youth team here in Prince Albert or Montreal team or underage groups. And yeah, I continued to play in minor hockey for several years in Prince Albert, and because there was no Montreal Lake teams that we could be a part of Indian hockey teams, I had to be picked, selected to either PFC, Earth, or whoever would actually pay for me. I guess once again, I've never been in the law, and I think this is because I believe that that's because of organized sports. Working with Urban, I would really like to get that rink involved, or involved with Prince Albert Game Minor Hockey League, as that's where I went to right after, moving away from Rapid. So that's my first platform on Urban Council. Another thing is, like I said, I couldn't get band funding for urban students, and that's not just me. There's been plenty more relatives and friends that unfortunately they could not get their schooling, the rest of their schooling paid for. And I have had trouble with band funding ever since I started going to secondary school. As I feel like I've been treated as a privilege for urban people there, not right. I'd like to change that. Because after when learning in school, my major is game studies, and we learned that we should have the right to, we should be allowed to learn depending on the white man of the true meaning and intent of as long as the sun shines, grass grows, and the river flows. This will take into thinking and include outside funding agencies. So I'm going to the constitution. My third platform of being an urban counselor is that I have had my own business for the past 4 years, giving safe ride shares in Prince Albert. We have driven some people here to Montreal Lake or Walpaden, and all those rides, I did not advertise for these people. They know me just by word of mouth, and it's as it sits right now, that is good, as I only have one vehicle, and I have 3 employees. If I become an urban counselor, I would like to expand on this and improve this business, not only for me, but for the community. Sorry, I kind of rushed in my speech here, so I'm just going to close out by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I have a pamphlet that says more about what I want to do, set out in the back here, and then my brother has some more stuff. But I will be setting up some more here for as I'm an urban councillor, I'm not on reserve councillor. So, yeah, thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you for attending the meeting for the presentation. All right, sorry for the delay. You can come up here, please. I'm sorry. So we got another candidates or sorry, nominations for the first candidates coming up.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy. Thank you to Ron. Thank you to baby girl Talia for the work you guys did in the election night. And just want to thank our grader today for giving us today to our elder and Amelia, giving us some canvas with that being one and enough with now is with the good to my week, good to see the sky week. Untuk mana kini situ ada orang tersebut, bukan itu mangan seperti itu kini situ ada orang tersebut. Teori harus boleh berlaku macam. Today, so I give thanks. I had some notes. Wasn't really a notebook, but I'm going to use some of my personal notes here. So I want to say good afternoon, good evening to everybody in the chair. Today I'm up here to nominate a young man. I'm nominating Mr. Dean A. Henderson. Dean is 46 years old. Dean's partner is April Smith. Currently they're raising one stepdaughter, two stepboys, and Dean has a daughter, Kiana. And Dean was first elected in March of 2017, 6 years ago. Some of his portfolios that he's held in the past has been education, sports and rec, post-secondary justice, community management from South End Agency as an arm's length linked to the Cree Nation. And Dean is the son of Nolan. We also know him as Marcian. And to Marcian's girl, Shirley. As we know, Nolan's former chief of our nation here, Montreal Lake Sk, he was chief for 2 terms, and I served under Nolan. And I worked alongside Shirley for many years, so we've got tons of experience, and Dean's learned from, I gotta say, he's learned from the best. So it's an honor for me to come up here and nominate Dean. Dean didn't ask me. I was the one that said, I'll nominate you. I want to be a nominator, and for me it's an honor just to be up here and to say a few words. And I must say, our chief candidates, the best of luck to our current chief Joyce, to former chief Edward, and to our amendment. I want to say the best of luck. And, it's not easy to lead a nation. And we have many council members, former council members are here. Just down the road and there, and Stephen. Numerous people that led our nation at one time. And Jason as well. Jason's here for you, Jeff Badger, Jared. A lot of people that are here. And Howard from Little Red. So it's just, it's not an easy task to be up here to put your name forward. And to all of you, all the ones that are putting your name forward to run for the position of council here for Montreal Lake Sk, both Urban, Little Red, and to Montreal Lake. I guess for Little Red, I should mention that the 2 ladies are claimed as councillors for their nation in Little Red, so we want to give a good round of applause. So again, like I said, it's an honor for me to be up here. I wasn't going to be nervous, but for some reason, I'm getting nervous. I don't know why. So, but again, I want to ask for your support when it comes to election day. That we put an X in front of Dean Albert Henderson. So I want to welcome my colleague Dean Albert Henderson to the podium. So I have asked him to do.
Okay, we'll just hear from the seconder for the nomination.
allow Harry Elgary, the capital nomination for council candidate to be mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. If I could have the candidate, Ian Anderson, come do his presentation.
Okay, thank you. That's lovely. Thank you. I want to thank my nominator, of course, Roger, my seconder, Harry. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I guess I want to start from 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I was driving Zamboni at our local arena, and I was approached by many people, you know, you should put your name. Yes, maybe it's my time. So I did, and, you know, I wanted to mention, Brent was teasing me. He said, oh, there's always a job opening there for you if you want to go back and drive Zamboni. You'll work under a cookie, he says. But, yeah, so, you know, I was elected, and then I was appointed the vice chief, I don't know, probably the first month, I guess it was, not even really sure. But, you know, at the time, there was lots of political turmoil, and I had to learn the role quickly as a young politician. I feel that I had to learn the hard way. You know, just the way things were rolling out and playing out. It wasn't fun. It wasn't a fun time. I questioned myself. What did I get myself into? You know? 7 months in, I had a little stroke. I lost feeling on one side one night. I was trying to grab my phone because my phone was going off. I knew something was wrong. You know, it was, and so I went to bed like that. The next day I woke up and I got out of bed and I stumbled and I fell right into the wall. And so I said, take me to the health center. Ambulance to PA, and they told me I had a slight stroke. And I didn't know what the cause of that was. I guess it was just stress. Stress, high sugar, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. I had it all. You know, so trying to stay healthy after that, you know. And, I remember a week after that, I tried to go hunting with a crew that went out to Porcupine to go hunt, and I couldn't even walk in a bush. I was staggering, like I was intoxicated. You know, that was just the effects of it. It took me a couple of months to get over that. But since then, you know, I felt that it made me stronger as a leader, and, you know, made me more good at the job that I have done. I've retained the vice chief position for the last 6 years, and that was appointed. So, you know, I feel that I can do the job of counselor, of the vice chief, whatever it might be. I just want to talk about some of the programs that I had. I have education, one of the big programs, post-secondary, justice, community events, sports, culture, recreation, and then I was on the CFS as well, part of the CFS. I oversaw CFS. You know, learning all about those programs, learning them and trying to figure out how they operate. You know, it probably took me most of that first term just to figure out how programs run, how the funding works, and, you know, it was very challenging, but, you know, that's why I'm here today. I feel like I can do any position, I can do any program. I want to speak a little bit about the Sports Culture Rec program. As you're all aware, we got a fish derby this weekend. It's one of our biggest events in the community. You know, that generates all the profit for your kids, our kids, to participate in sport for our nation, representing our nation. We have kids that go to the city and play organized soccer. Today, Montreal Lake is known as one of the best Indigenous soccer communities, you know, so we got something to be proud of. Also, I just want to, you know, there's lots of work that goes into the fish derby, lots of work, you know, and the fish derby committee stepped up. You know, I have to step aside this year, and that hurts me to have to step aside because I want this event to succeed, right? I've been a part of it before I was elected official, but, you know, so for those of you that aren't elected or can't participate because we're running in this election, please help them. They need the help, you know. It goes a long ways for our community and our kids. Anyways, okay, so getting on to education, the education program. I feel it took me a long time to learn the education program. You know, there's always bumps in the road as you go in with education. We've went through a few principles, you know, and it's a pretty tough program. But, you know, we brought in a land-based program, you know, I think that which is helping, because I'm a big supporter of land-based education. You know, I feel land-based is very important. It's got me probably here today, right? If it wasn't for land-based. Before I left office, just last week, we opened bids for a feasibility study for a new school for us, for our kids. I think, you know, we got to support that. If I don't get elected, the next person, got to support it. We need a new school. If you walk around and look at this place, it's in bad shape. You know, it's 42 years old. So support it. We have, I have the justice program. Been working with the government, the federal government, on getting us a new detachment here in our community. And man, there's all kinds of hoops you gotta jump through with the federal government, you know, there's lots of delays. But we're moving forward. You know, I think someday that'll happen. I was working with PAGC and building a women's shelter here in our community for all women within the Prince Albert Grand Council. It's much needed, you know, and so working with the project management team there, you know, so I believe that one's well on its way. You know where Beverly's house is at the river right across the road, that clearing. In case you haven't heard, that's supposed to be the PAGC Women's Shelter, a 10-bed facility. What was the other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about? As you can see, I didn't take any notes. I just figured I'd come over here and wing it, right? But I still got 6 minutes. I don't want to mumble on too, and I don't want to take up too much time. I can't remember the other thing I was going to mention, but anyways, I want to ask everybody for your support in this next election. You know, I'll continue working as hard as I can. You know, there's many days where you feel the stress and, you know, you feel like staying home, you know, but you can't. You got to do the job. So with that, thank you. I ask for your support, Dinigin and Naskaman.
Candidate Anderson. I have another nomination. There we go. Go ahead.
Just put it at karaoke level. Good evening to all band members, elders, and visiting dignitaries. Thank you, Elder, for the speech. And thank you to all the members in attendance for your time and attention this evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a proud band member and current nurse manager at the health center here in Montreal Lake. I feel that as an educated mother and health advocate and voice for many of our staff and band members at work, it's my duty to have say and put forth my nomination for our leadership. I nominate Carol Nadehow for Council of our great nation because I believe that having strong, educated, and articulate leaders is the key to continued strength, resilience, and empowerment for our Cree nation. Sorry, I was just so excited to come and speak. I have worked alongside Carol for the past 5 years. One when she was a crisis response team member, and 1.5 as a health committee member, and the last 2.5 as health portfolio counselor. I noted her empathy, her compassion, and driving force to create a better future for our children, our youth, our adults, and our elders. I witnessed her determination, commitment, and advocating for more government funding for our health programming that has allowed us to expand our health portfolio tenfold. She promised to be the voice at the last election, and our health program is testimony of that commitment. In the near future, Canada is looking towards First Nations to develop their own health legislation. And for that, we need educated, committed, and vocal leaders to advocate and negotiate for our Cree Nation's health needs. On a personal note, I've never met a more professional and articulate person. She's both humble and empathetic. She has made valuable key connections with our funding agencies, health services at the second and third levels. A skill I have seen very few accomplish in such short time. I speak for myself and my staff when I say I've thoroughly enjoyed working with her. I've always been told great leaders develop relationships with the people they lead, and I believe Carol has earned that distinction. I ask that she's re-elected so that she may continue building capacity within our community and empower our people to be the change we all want for our families. Thank you for your patience, your consideration, and time.
Thank you, Amanda. Is there a seconder for that nomination?
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to look professional and bring something up at least. I have my calendar. But I also have my packet that I'm going to use as the guide today. So, first off, I want to acknowledge our Creator for allowing us to be here today, allowing everyone to be here, and give you safe travels to attend our nominations. And I give thanks to our elder, Amelia, who opened us with a prayer today. I give thanks to my nominator, Amanda, for a great speech. You know, like somebody else was saying, how do you live up to that? But thank you for that, and thank you, Alex, for seconding me. The nomination, sorry. So, for those of you, thank you to our deputy officials over here behind me and all the hard work, and Conrad, for your hard work with the live streaming. It's actually our first time live streaming, so this is a brand new thing in our elections. So who am I? My name is Carol Nadehow. I'm 32 years old. My mother is Virginia Nadehow. My father is George Valentine. am the eldest of 10 children. 2 of them have passed on already. I have 2 children. They're going to be 15 and 8 this year. I grew up in Montreal Lake, and I moved away to go attend high school in Prince Albert. As I moved away, I learned different challenges. I met different people in the community of Carleton High School, just young people. And many of the people that I did meet, they're out doing different professional jobs. I meet up with them once in a while here and there. And it's great to be able to meet people who I've connected with in the past and catch up. So, myself, it was a challenge to decide whether or not I was going to put my name forward. Because it's been 2.5 years since I've been a counselor. And it has been a challenge. Who I am as a person, my background, I was a teacher. I grew up with sports. I played hockey, I played soccer, track and field, I trained in this gym. I decided I was going to be a teacher. That was something I was going to do. Life came along and said, hey, you're no longer going to be a teacher. This is what you're going to do. And I went to a different job. I worked at PAGC as a Q Woodland coordinator for about 1 year. After that, life came along again and said, hey, you need to go. You need to go back home. You need to go home and lead your people. And I couldn't, in my head, I said, I can't do that. I can't do it. I'm not ready for that. A lot of people came up to me and told me many times, you can do it. I'll support you. I'll support you. You need to do this. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I came in during a by-election, and it was hard because it was COVID. Myself, I grew up in this gym. My grandfather is Paul Bird. He used to drag me to assemblies all the time, to meetings all the time. This gym was packed all the time. When COVID came, I came into council. It was different. It was hard. It was culture shock. Something I was not used to. And I decided, okay, this is what we're doing right now. This is how we have to do it, to be safe. So my first 1.5 years, it was COVID. Everything was COVID. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't go visit over there. During the election, I couldn't go visiting houses. I couldn't even be in this, speak in front of everybody. I couldn't do that. I had to post a video online. So it was hard and challenging. So for me, standing right here, right now, I honestly feel like I've only been a counselor for 1 year. Because I was only, just 1 year ago, we were allowed to go out. We felt safe to go out and see people, to go and shake hands with people. So from there, I worked. I had different portfolios. My main one was health, the biggest one. I had daycare and Head Start. I had membership and church and culture. Those are my main portfolios. Sorry, I'm a teacher still at heart, so I can talk forever to keep track of my time. So, one of my main groundings that I do all the time is my spiritual background. That's one of my main things that I do. How do I keep grounded through everything? How do I keep grounded through issues at home? Issues in my family, issues in the community. I pray. So I may be standing up here physically alone, but I don't feel alone. I never feel alone. And that is something that I'm proud of. And the reason why I don't feel alone is because, I have a sister who passed on. I have a brother who passed on. I have grandmothers, grandfathers. but they're always waiting for me to ask them for help. Because they may be gone physically, but I call on them all the time. And I just pray, help me, It's the easiest prayer you can, help me. So I'm going to go into my different portfolios. So as you know, my background is education. One of my biggest things that I don't have on education is mental health, right? But I've learned firsthand experience, through myself, through siblings, through community members. I was a crisis response team member for 1 year, but I was doing it for many years before that. So with my portfolio's band membership, I promoted joint ventures between Montreal Lake and Little Red. Because Little Red is, our community not far away from us, but they have the same struggles. So I always did my part in including all the time, because before coming into this position, there was always things like, oh, we're always left out. We're always left out. So that was something that I made a choice, I didn't want to do that. And with membership, one of the things that we worked on was a citizenship code. And, come this fall, there's going to be a ratification vote for the citizenship code. And one of the things that I find in there is with our treaty rights. I wear a medallion here, and I wear this with pride, because I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for our treaty rights. And so everything that I've done, I've always made sure to always remember those who signed our treaty for us. And with our citizenship code, we make sure that our treaty rights are included in that all the time. You learn about the Indian math, 6-1, 6-2. As a teacher, I want to educate. And I've been educating, working alongside Judy, who's our membership clerk, educating Montreal Lake and Little Red, getting calls from off reserve saying, hey, we need this, we need this. So we've been working on that. We have plans for that, of how to ensure that our members off reserve are getting their treaty cards. Making sure that if they're a 6-2, they're moved to a 6-1. With health, I first came in my first week in the health program. I was surprised because there was only 2 people who are working in the mental health field in our health center. And I asked, what is our percentage of dollars? We were getting $600,000 for mental health compared to millions for physical health. That blew my mind. I said, we can't do that. We're in COVID. We're in a mental health crisis right now. So I pushed and pushed. The funding agencies, I pushed them. I said, this is what we need. So right now we have a mental health building there, and we have therapists. We have outreach workers. Our NADAP was 1 worker. We have 3 workers there. We push for that all the time. I assume responsibility for 2 new programs with ISK. They were under PAGC for years. I had the opportunity to go to be Chief's proxy one meeting. And, I'm a person. If you look at me, I probably look like, if you never met me before, I look like I don't know what I'm doing. But once I opened my mouth at that meeting, they could see. Because I managed to get those programs back. Come April 1st, those are now, we have a direct relationship with ISK for our maternal child health, our diabetes program, and for our daycare and Head Start. We had a community shelter here. With COVID, we found that there was so many issues, because people were worried, like, hey, somebody will have, might have COVID. We didn't allow them to come into our homes. So then we never really needed a shelter before. And then now we needed one. So push for that, from PRT, they said, Carol, can you take that on? I said, okay, so we did. And I asked for help, hey, this is what I'm working on, can you help me? You know, because I always know that it's not it's not me. You know, I had a great team. We had detox program. That was also something that I worked on. And those are tireless meetings. Like sometimes we go till 12, 1 o'clock. You know, I was, a lot of times I was taken away from home. You know, I was at meetings, my kids, I had to sacrifice, you know, that time away from them. But it was because I knew how important it was to have our detox running. I know how important it is because we have so many addictions, different types of addictions in our community. I'm aware of them. So I sacrificed. I said, yeah, I'll be there at that meeting. Our youth center, you know, Troy worked hard, our previous leadership worked hard with obtaining that building. We needed those dollars. You know, where are we going to get dollars from? So I gathered a team and said, hey, we're gonna get dollars for this. $500,000 we received for 7 months. And that is something that I'm proud of because that's our kids. Our youth are happy to go there. You know, they know that they're gonna be fed supper. You know, if they're not getting it at home, they know they can go to the youth center. And that is so important to them. So some things that I plan to do. I'll continue my own traditional practices because that's what's helped me as a person. I've been sober for over 8.5 years. And that I sobered up when I was 23. That's something that, you know, I work hard on every single day. It doesn't matter what issues arise. That's something that I plan to work on in the morning and at night when I go to bed. For education, I'll always continue to support education. This year we have 28 grads. We have 28 grads. You know, I'm proud of that. Because I've always, like every kid I've seen, hey, did you register for school? Are you going to school? Why? Why not? You know, I've always tried to encourage our women's program. You know, we received dollars last year. And this year, out of 84 communities in Canada, we're in the top 10 to receive dollars. Again, that was something that we worked hard on as well. So that's for an economic business. Sorry, I'm running out of time. See, I can talk here forever. Give me an hour. No, but the main thing is, I'm up here standing before you to continue fighting for treaty rights. I've learned fast, I've learned quick. You know, new programs that came in, I am educated. I will read through those just to understand them and make sure our programs are done for our communities, our members. So on March 31st, I ask you to support me to continue being your leader in our community. And ask one, hi.
So if I could have another nomination, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Ray. I'm nominating my dad, John Bird, in the place of councillor position in the 2023 band election. I nominate him because he inspires, motivates, and encourages me to do good in life. I believe he will be a good leader for his values, beliefs, and how he doesn't give up and he keeps trying. And I'll let him carry on with his speech. Thank you for your time and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much, Angela. If I can have a seconder.
Dansez témoin. J'appelle les travaux de ségrégation, and I second John Burke nomination of 2023 election. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jacqueline and Elkin. Anyway, I'd like to address, just say that thank you so much for giving me this opportunity with what we've gone through and had to go through to get to this position standing here. And my hand goes out to all the people that have to stand up here and speak, because it's not an easy thing. I don't have any personal accolades like everyone else does, the education that they have backing them, but I do have a desire to see better people on my reserve. Not only is it my reserve, it's our reserve. And we have to work together to making it a better place. So, last night, I had no idea, I still have no idea what I'm saying, but I know I'm speaking from the heart and truthful. But I was lonely coming home last night, missing my mom. It's been a year since she's been gone. And I was dwelling on that for a bit, and I went and saw my elder. We were sitting there talking, then we started laughing. And she looked at me and she said, "You may have lost a mom, but you've also found one in me. Your daughters are doing well. You still have one more that needs to graduate, and tell her granny wants to be there for her to graduate." I guess I have a stepbrother, Conrad. Yeah, his mom adopted me last night. I just felt so much at home. It's about acceptance and being accepted by your community and finding a place in your community. And I'd like to see more accepting of people and how to direct people to becoming an enterprise together, working together. I hear my elders talking and how great it used to be, how the good things were back then, how they were able to put a boat and a line of boats at the lake and leave all their personal belongings in there and not have anything go missing. I can't see us ever getting back to that state, but to teach respect, we also have to show it. We have to show people that we genuinely care for each other. And I've done that with my family. I've been a single parent for 21 years. I'm doing the best I can for them, and I've never quit on them, and I haven't given up. Oh, believe me, there's days I wish, what did I do? What did I get into? But parenting is something that I've been good at, and showing my family that I do care for them. And in making this decision to run for this position, I also understand that they're getting older, and I have a little more freedom to do other things. And I'm extending my family now to the Montreal Lake Cree Nation. I want to accept, if I can be accepted by the Cree Nation as being their leader, and also family. Because my door will always be open. You can come in and enter, sit down, drink, eat. I meant by tea and coffee and water and pop. I've been sober today. The amount of time that I've been sober doesn't matter, but for today, I've been sober. And that means a lot to me and my daughters. And I am so nervous right now. I apologize because I'm unscripted. I was talking to Dean earlier and I said, I don't know what I'm going to say. And he was in the same boat. He says, I haven't created anything either. So I just figured honesty is the best policy. And I'm being as honest as I can be with you guys, like I have been. And, I'd like to thank Angela for nominating me. She wanted to get her feedback, and I know that there are other people in the audience here that would like to see her run for a position of council, perhaps even chief. So I figured this would be a great opportunity for her to stand up, and I'm proud of her. I'm very proud of her. Thank you so much for nominating me. It takes a lot of courage, and I wanted to see you do it. So if anything we get from this, we need to work together. We need to understand each other. And we need to try to be better, not for anyone else, but for ourselves. And to be better for tomorrow, for ourselves. but we also need to work together and understand different dynamics that we go through. And with if you don't mind, I just want to take this in for a second because it's not every day that you get to do this. You know, as good as the camera here looking at me, I'm not sure that camera has actually seen anybody else in there. And you know, my hand goes out to the people that are running. That the people are going to see until the 30th. 31st is going to be a day where it's going to get more gray hair. So of us will dye our hair. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And you know, we have former leaders that were in here that were once in this position. You know, and they paved the way. They led the way to where we are today. And this is an opportunity since the last, 3 years since COVID, that we're actually going to get out and meet and greet. And you know, I missed the last time around. I contemplated this time around. I don't know how long it took for me to get to the last part of it and submit my application for a council position. But I thought, you know, this place has given me so much, so I've got to start giving back. I'd love to start giving back. Trying to keep this a little bit shorter than most because we have a lot of people coming up. But I'm sure in the next few days, next couple of days, next week or so, I will be meeting you personally at your houses. But that is my intention. This is just the start. Wait till I get to your house. But anyways, I am seeking your support in your election on March 31st, 2023. Again, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I really appreciate my daughter coming up and doing this. She didn't have to. But like I said, you know, we have to find for our future leaders. And I'm hoping that one day she does take that step into standing up here and talking to you. Thank you so much, and thank you.
Thought we have nomination for the next,
No, I'm not shaking. Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to greet everyone in a good way. Former leaders, program managers, and everybody that the Chief and Council have been working with for the past 3 years. I thank the elder for the prayer. My name is Dylan Itauhau, and I'm a proud member of Montreal Lake Sk. And today I am pleased to nominate Troy Itauhau for the position of band counselor. I have known Troy since he was knee-high, and have seen him grow up into this fine young man, and have witnessed him getting involved in our community as a young teenager. I have worked along beside him for many years in community events, and I'm really involved with all the community events, so I've always seen Troy there, and along with all the leadership, and I thank you for that. He is a family man who is currently looking after his 2 girls. As a matter of fact, when you see Troy, you see those 2 little ones right behind him. I have seen firsthand on how he demonstrates team leadership, and that is an important value to have as a leader. And with that, he involves himself, and he also ensures that he's available. Individually, I have seen him many times doing the work himself, even though he didn't have to. He's out there plowing roads, firing up the fire truck, and even assisting in cooking in the community barbecues that we hold. And just being available when needed, that was Troy, and still is. He's also one of the individuals that I've seen firsthand when it comes to emergencies in our community. He's there to offer any help and assist in organizing what we need to do. He has experience in finding money. He's been on council, I think, 6 years, I believe. I didn't even ask him. But I knew he was there. He finds ways to either build our community projects. Troy is an avid supporter of all men, all women, elders, and also the youth projects. This young man has impressed me in so many ways, and these throughout the years. And my biggest reason, he has a wonderful, caring heart. So on March 31st, I humbly ask you for your support for this young man. I introduce you, Troy Nitaha.
Thank you, Didi. If I can get a seconder for Troy.
Good evening, my name is Nancy Brown, and I second the nomination for Troy Nitaha.
Thank you very much, Lance. If I can get Troy up here and do his presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you, Team Dale for prepared this morning. Thank you, everyone, for coming to support, your support of the government here. Thank you to the officials here. I'm going to start off by thanking my nominator, Julia. Thank you so much for supporting me, as Lance too, for supporting me all these years. I'm going to start off by telling you who I am, what I've done to the community, and where some of the projects I'd like to keep moving forward as I'm elected. My name is Troy Nitaha. My mother is Julie Nitaha. My grandma is Joyce McLeod Nitaha. And then Lance asked me, well, what am I going to say for dad? So I'll just say my dad's up north somewhere. You got me there, so it kind of threw me off. I was okay, and then nervousness hit, and it goes away. But it's part of the job, right? So I'll do my best here. I have 3 children. I have a son, Tyler, who lives in Prince Albert with his mom. I have 2 daughters, Sasha and Sophia. I was married at 23 years old. I was first elected in 2017 at the age of 26. I was the youngest councillor in 2017. I was the youngest councillor in 2020. I'm a volunteer firefighter for the community, structural fire. I've also helped in wildland fire as well. I'm a hunter. I filled a community freezer multiple times. I lost count. I've also sent meat to Little Red and our urban sector when needed. I like to fish. I'm pretty good. I'm going to say that, so I want that on the record. I play hockey. I cheer for the best team in the league, Edmonton Oilers. So I hope I don't lose a few votes there. I play horseshoes. I'm okay. You're okay. I'm pretty good. I lived in Montreal Lake until I was in grade 6, then moved to Prince Albert. I went to Queen Mary Community School there till grade 8. I was SRC president. I think that's when I got into politics. I ran for SRC president. I went and grabbed my late grandpa's suits, so I showed up with a suit, just baggy, but I ended up making it in, so that's where I started off my political career. I am from a political family. I was in air cadets for 4 to 5 years. I made it all the way to a flight sergeant where you start teaching your own class. I went to Carleton Comprehensive High School. I graduated there in 09. I played football for 4 years. I had about 5 concussions there. I played hockey, minor hockey league in Prince Albert. 2 concussions there, of course, and then lacrosse. I played that for a bit. I broke my wrist, that's why I stopped. After graduation, I was a young father. I needed to support my whole family. So I worked at Lake Sk right after high school. I worked there for 3 years. That was from 8 to 5. And then from 5 to 11, I worked at Starbucks across the road. I was working 2 jobs to support my little family. After that, I went to Canadian Tire. I was a oil tech there for about 6 months. And then I ended up leaving to Alberta. I worked there for 3 years. I worked my way up from a laborer, from shoveling to a lead hand and an operator. I was able to help many band members secure jobs over there to work with the company. I moved back in 2013. I was working for at the arena as a maintenance man. Then I went to the health center as a custodian and taxi driver and security. Began working at Public Works as an operator. From there, I was elected in 2017. Since my term in 2017, I just want to do some highlights of what I've done for the community. When I say I've kind of led the projects, but I've always had that support, that teamwork with the previous councillors and the chief. So they always supported me. They didn't fight back. They helped wherever they can. They found money where they can find money. So some of the projects I worked on, we updated our new fire truck. Ours was old and breaking down all the time, so we got a good deal on that one. Fixed the sliding hill. It was burnt and no good. I was able to get donations and fix that up. Today it's still going, the lights are still on. The youth center, I was working with that with Neil. It took 4 years, but we got it done. Then the skate park. I worked at the Needle store in MLBB. I built 4 parks for the community. One at daycare, one at the school here, both have been used up. I brought in thousands of dollars in donations to our sports and rec program. When the band needs new equipment or anything, I always ask for that donation. I'm always the one that, I ask for money, but you can donate. Everyone wants our business, right? One dealership here wants our business, one wants it. So who has the biggest donation? Because I get the same deal, same price, right? I brought thousands of dollars in. I was able to get a $5,000 donation to our arena before our youth center was built, so that's where the TVs and the football tables came into play. I've updated all our vans in multiple programs. I had the shuttle service going. That got stopped due to COVID though. That's when everyone was paying like $80, $100 to get the PA for groceries. I didn't like that. So we started a shuttle service to give free rides to elders. And I think the adults were $10 or something like that. Just to get the PA back. Last year, 2 years ago, Carol and I started a Keep Warm project. We went around asking for money, we got up to 30 grand, and then this year that doubled. I've always supported our youth, our elders, and everyone in between. I've always had a team to work with, and we did good, we did amazing. Some of the capital projects I've done, new landfill, garbage dump, water treatment plant, drainage project, new lagoon, gravel projects. Not only have I worked the capital projects on reserve, I also secured projects for the band creating revenue and jobs. Public Works was in the minus when I got the program, brought it up to par, even. And my last update, maybe 6 months ago, we were 1.4 million in surplus. I was helping get the band out of debt. It took about 4 years. I was working with the team there, but we got out of bad debt and we're in good debt now. Good debt means we're paying low interest on the loan, so instead of the creditor's interest building that way. I was able to secure a loan for a new equipment from Montreal Lake here. We updated our excavator, our loader. 2 years ago we did the backhoe. That took a long time. That took about 4 years to get that loan, and the bank wasn't we're kind of iffy about getting the loan at the start, and we started proceeding, getting better and better with the band's finances, and they gave us a loan. That took a while to get, but we got it done. I've always believed I believe that we're one big community. I don't look at Little Red and Urban different sectors. I believe we're all one big group, so I've always seen it that way. Little Red, I helped get the blue building started over there. graveled the roads a few times. I was able to help and assist them getting their new equipment. I updated their new health vans. I helped get their youth center going. Also the Keep Warm project went over there too. I was sitting on capital projects for Little Red, helping them get their new lagoon and new down water treatment plants. Off reserve, I've always helped out the best I can whenever needed. I've always sent equipment to Montreal Lake Sk Timber Bay. They were needing help, and I sent them help, and then they're like, well, who do we build? I said, no, we don't build. You're the same community, you're band members, and I've always, I don't look at it separately. We're all one big band. I'm still working on our light project. If you can see when you go outside, you can see the soccer field and baseball diamond these poles are going up. I would like to continue that. I would like to build a dirt bike track between the skate park and the van office there, that opening. I was currently working on an indoor swimming pool. I got blueprints and costs. I just ran out of time looking for money. Some proposals I would like to finish is our new fire hall. We got approved for a $2.2 million fire hall. Transportation, I'd like to finish that proposal. We got approved for a brand new charter bus and a van for health. That is 1.2 million there. And I'd like to finish the nursing station. I've been on that project for 5 years. I remember the first day they gave me that project. We're in a meeting. I had my head down on my phone and they're like, well, we need someone to look after this project. So I just kept my head down. When I looked up, everyone was looking at me and said, I got this. It took a while, but we're getting there. It's going to be done in the middle of August. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. For those who are running, good luck. If you elect it, I will do my best. I'll keep doing my best. So I ask for your support on March 31st. Please support me. And everyone, I say jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy and Dava. Okay, if I can have the nominations for another candidate for council.
I want to take a couple of seconds here to acknowledge a few people. Roger, Dirk, Jeff, Jared, thank you for your past leadership. And also Shirley Henderson, Stephen, and Norman. If we can give them a round of applause. Thank you for those people that I just mentioned. If I didn't mention your name, it's probably because you didn't give me traveling for you to go anywhere. I'm nominating Jeffrey for council. He's a direct descendant of Visaki Jans. I've known Jeffrey most of my life. I had a speech written out, but I just figured I'll just wing it. Jeffrey has been a chairman for our chapters for the past 17 years. The time that I did go to our chapters meeting, I was just amazed at how he was chairing those meetings. Not only that, but he also amazed me at our trap lines, the trap lines that we no longer have. I know that he's going to be fighting for those ones. He's also been a part of sports and recreation for most of his life. He has been a director. He also sat on a committee. And he's also represented Montreal Lake as an athlete for most of his life. What else was there? I started respecting Jeffrey when I was working for the crisis response team. It was very hard for me to work for crisis response team. It took a lot out of me for emotionally, physically, and I have to say financially. Jeffrey opened his door a few times, and I was surprised that he opened his door. And these are people that were struggling with addiction, serious addictions, relationship problems. And I just want to say thank you to Jeffrey for doing that. It made my job and the rest of the crisis response team job a lot easier. What else is there? I I just had so much to say and I can't think of anything right now. Jeffrey, good luck, and I'm nominating Jeffrey. Kidding. I guess I'll just leave it low. He's keeping it shorter than me.
Claire Mountain from Montreal Lake Sk for Jeffrey.
All right, I need a stool here. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to this nomination. I'd like to thank all the past and former councilors and chiefs here for attending and being here, and also for the chiefs that are running, and all the rest of the councilors that have been at school. It's pretty hard to, I don't have more to talk about. But anyways, good evening, committee members. I'd like to thank my nominee, Bernard Berg, and Secretary Claire Valentine. My name is Jeffrey Okamo. I'm running in this election for councilor. I've been working at the Senator Allen Berg School for 3.5 years now as a custodian. And I've been on various committees throughout years. If selected as council member of Montreal Lake Sk Nation, I will work hard for you, the band members, and for our community of Montreal Lake Sk Nation as a whole, including PA and Little Red. I'm committed to working hard for treaty rights for our band members so our next generation can enjoy the freedom of hunting and fishing and gathering foods and medicines. This means a lot to me because I'm an avid trapper at the trap. I do not trap, but I use my trap line quite a bit, and I have a lot of family members that use it. And a lot of people who use my cabin for hunting and that. These are the things that really mean a lot to me, our trap lines, because once we lose those, there's a lot of resources on our trap line that other people come and get, like forestry and many minerals that can be reduced into money. Also, lose some of our trap lines to resorts. We already lost our grandfather's skidoo trails, trapping trails, skidoo clubs, and skidoo trails. They wanted us to pay $50 to go on those trails that our grandfathers made for us. And that's something that we need to fight for our trappers about. I will work on finding solutions to ever-growing problems such as jobs, housing, money, work projects that come up each and every year. And I'm committed to helping our homeless band members, whether they have addictions or not, because every band member has the right to shelter. To remember, our homeless band members are not just a number for the government and money. They are band members with the feelings. They need our help. I once used to be I had bad addictions and drinking too, growing up. And I've been through residential school, been through social service system, been through juvenile centers, been through the jail, because of all the bad decisions I made of alcohol, and because of the residents, the things that they did to me. But for the help, I'd like us for more community-based workshops to help solve these arising problems so we can all work together for a better future for our band members and Montreal Lake Sk Nation as a whole. And if selected as one of your councillors, I'm committed to working from the band office 9 to 5. My office door will always be open for you, the band members. I will not work from home, because you have to remember, band members, we work for you as a councillor. You don't work for us. Like I said, we work for you. And I do speak Cree and understand it fluently. We put too much English ahead of our Cree language. We are slowly losing our Cree language. We need to return to our language. There's a lot of speakers here that spoke. I haven't heard any Cree. In closing, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's come up, and all good luck to all the candidates. Tinigin International, Mina Pega,
With that, we can open up the floor for
Good evening all, my name is Cal Henderson, here to nominate Keanu Henderson for the position of council. You know, I was thinking of what was I going to do when I came up here, what was I going to say? You know, I could say a lot of different things about Keanu in terms of how he's proven time and time again that, you know, he's a fella that can handle pressure. You know, I could also say he's a mediocre hunter. He's not the greatest, I'm better than him. The point being is, I've known Keanu since he was a young fella. You know, we grew up together. He's the son of Agnes Howe and Pat Henderson. You know, we grew up down the lake together. A lot of time spent time at our Goodham's house. You may know her, Lizzie Henderson. You know, one of her favorite sayings when it comes to me is, I don't like talking to the young people when they say, I know, I know, I know. She always says, well, if you know everything, what's the point of talking to you? And that's one thing that Keanu never says. He never says, I know. If you come to him with a problem, if you come to him with something that needs to be solved, he takes the time to research it, he takes the time to understand what he's going up against. You know, and I've seen that during his time as fire chief for our community. You know, he was, we say it figuratively a lot of times that we'd follow that person into a fire, we'd follow that person to the gates of hell, so to say. Personally, I have followed him into a house that was on fire. A lot of situations we've been to together along with Troy, you know, and we dealt with some very crazy situations, but in all that chaos, Keanu was the solid piece. And for me, it was a big honor to come up here today and to nominate him. You know, there is, I feel he's ready. I've been asking him past 2 elections, when are you going to run? When are you going to run? He keeps saying, I'm not ready. So when he finally gave me the go-ahead a couple of weeks ago, he was excited. He was ready to take on this position. So for that, I'm very thankful he's taken a stand, because we don't have enough young people that are willing to take the reins over. Eventually we are going to start losing our past leaders, and who's going to take the place after that? I believe that Keanu is the youngest candidate running in this election at 25 years old. He is the father of Elena. When you see him, much like Troy, Elena's right beside him. You know, and for me, to be able to lead a nation, but also have that compassion for your family, I see that in him. You know, he takes a job and he takes it seriously. He may, I shouldn't swear, he may beat around the bush with his jokes and everything, but when it comes down to taking the time to listen to people, I know he's not going to push them away, and for that, I'll keep it short. I hope you have safe travels. Thank you to the elder, thank you to the deputy electoral officers. Also, just to give a quick recognition to the past leaders that have, you know, mentored Keanu as well, mentored myself. You know, I think of Dirk in the back over there, I think of Jared as well. You know, these fellas here were quite instrumental during our youth leadership organization that we had going on one time. But before I go into that, I'll let Keanu take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Cal. If I could have a seconder.
Good evening, my name is Agnes Howe, and I'm the seconder for myself, Keanu Henderson.
Thank you, Agnes. If I could get Gavin to come up here for his presentation.
Good evening. It's kind of evening, they're walking up as well as about to walk. One second, 30 seconds. Well, first off, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank the deputy electoral officers for coming out. And
It's a little bit dark outside, so I feel a little comfortable now. So, but with that, Nancy, Cameron Henderson, good evening. It's a great pleasure to be here today. Today I am filled with hope for this upcoming election. I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to put my name forward as a candidate for the Montreal Lake Sk 106A. I'd like to first start off with giving some recognition to the many mentors I had throughout my life, starting with my mother, Agnes Naitaho, who has not only raised me, but also helped me create the best version of myself. I'd also like to thank all the teachers, for instance, like Ralph Starks, Annette Nelson, and Tanya McCollum, for the extra push to complete my schooling. They inspired me and made such a big positive impact throughout my life. Just to give you a bit of history of myself and my personal goals, I lived in this community until I was about 10 years old. Then our family relocated to Alberta. I returned at the age of 14 to finish off my schooling and get my grade 12. I graduated at the age of 16 at the Senator Allenberg Memorial School, the gym we are in here today. Following shortly after, I was a part of creating the Youth Chief and Council back in 2015. Our name was Oskaya Uniganiwa, which means youth leaders. I was the youth vice chief and treasurer throughout the 2 years we were established. We were given the opportunity to attend numerous meetings, such as being invited to the FSIN meetings and other various places around the province. This is something I would like to reinstate in our community. I had the opportunity in my professional life to have experience that have shown me what it takes to be a part of a team. Furthermore, what it takes to be a leader in intense situations when it requires me to make decisions that will ensure my team is safe. Thus, it is from these experiences that I have developed a passion for my community to be able to serve. I am also involved with the Sports and Recreation Board for the past 4 years, learning valuable lessons in organizing and planning for events, such as our very successful $100,000 walleye derby that is also set to take place this weekend on March 18th. It brings in the dollars that helps our youth go to Celtic Soccer's at least 2 to 3 times a week in Prince Albert. It also sends our kids to hockey, like the North Central Hockey League in Orange. I got involved with firefighting. It was during the fires of 2015, after it had come through and generated a chaotic environment within our community. I was trained on the operation of the fire truck. A few years after that, I was voted into the position of fire chief back in 2018. During my time with the fire department, our team was able to upgrade the fire truck into the one you see currently in use today. And I thank Cal and Troy and everyone else that were involved in getting that truck and also the equipment. It's been a big help. I remember when we first started it, we basically ran into buildings with nothing on, just whatever we were wearing. There was one time I went running to a fire, I was wearing my pajamas. My sister Keisha was just laughing at me. "You're gonna go in the house like that?" I said, "Yeah, sure, that's for sure." Sure enough, I went in there. We found the fridge sitting on the floor. There was a bunch of snacks in there. I was like, "Should we eat them or should we leave them?" But I believe with my involvement in training that I can further this community in some key areas. I do understand that plans are great to have, but a stronger trait is to be able to navigate through the hard times our community faces and being able to stay on track. Which is why I don't want to make promises. I want to remain teachable, and as such, I want to be able to listen to your ideas that will help me create some goals should you wish to elect me as Grand Councillor for this community, for our community. Some goals and ideas that I have come across from the few conversations that I've had are areas of justice that include some barriers that our community members may be facing, such as ineligibility to apply for some jobs because of a criminal record with minor offenses, and youth that are on probation that may be overlooked with various positions because of their past mistakes. Bring them back into society and practice our belief that all our people belong and are deserving of employment and another chance. There's also been concerns with our elders moving off reserve. Should they require extra care and facilities that we cannot provide, we should start looking at avenues to have our community repurpose our existing buildings or build a care home so that they can receive the same community in our community. We have to preserve a space to ensure that we can keep our elders and their knowledge in our community. It was also brought up to me that young parents in childcare, having a daycare at the school for young parents who want to finish school, they face barriers when trying to complete their grade 12 by having no childcare or the right support system. It is with the idea that gives the young parents a peace of mind that they can accomplish their goals. Another great idea that was brought to my attention was creating the small cabins or tiny one-bedroom homes for our members that are single or just looking to have their own humble abode. We could very well utilize our very own sawmill that is located behind the Housing and Public Works office to create these buildings and make it a reality. I also had the opportunity to learn about First Nations governance and how our leaders operate and negotiate within the provincial and federal government. Following that, it would be a great idea to include a youth voice at the table of council meetings. Having our youth council participate in events such as the PHGC election or FSIM meetings, and reserving spots as part of the delegation for the youth who are interested in learning what it takes to become a leader at that elected level. Being a leader is not your normal day-to-day 9-to-5 job. It's a 24-hour, 7 days a week commitment that I'm gladly willing to take on. It is with these goals, not promises, that have been given to me from our community, voices and ideas that need to be promoted. This is what I aim to accomplish within this term. Should you, the people, wish me to represent this community, far too often we hear during elections supporting our youth representation, yet we fall short when it comes for supporting them and empowering them regardless of their family name or relations. A voice for all, not for the few. With this, I humbly ask for your support so that we can make all voices matter. Support our people and further progress this nation into an area that is better than the way it was left. And thank you very much. The ones of you that traveled in, I hope you have a safe ride home. Get home safe, because there's lots of nuisances and nuisances on that highway too. But with that, have a great night and thank you again. Bye.
Candidate for Montreal Lake.
Roberts and nominate Arnold McDonald for council.
Can I get a seconder for Arnold McDonald?
Hi, my name is Roy. I'm nominating for Arnold McDonald. Thank you.
Can I get Arnold up here? Accept. Thank you.
I take my hat off for all this time. Anyway, what I'm saying is that the leader we sit there the one. The stuff that the last box he went to the boy and those he said that I the walk and the last box. Lawrence Roberts the last box the widow of the last. You come in or Charles Mina they go cash this coin. We cheat about we need to sitting out of now. We tried to know what my second nominator, yeah, name's Mama, but you will one day. I don't want to share. Arnold made the house sitting outside. We keep them sitting with bully, sitting outside, bully my nickname, but I'm not a bully, I got a soft heart. He keep that school for about 40 years, he'll be really God. I'm a family man. I know watch the Kiana, Gunistum, and then you big Anak. I have 8 children, all grown up, and 3 adopted children. I go to Bataya, the reason I'm running, we need a fluent Cree speaker in council. And either way, the way I know there's a lot of educated leaders. Fluent speakers. We need a fluent Cree speaker in council. They was about Bataya. There was someone, no one you will begin up. They was a store and the other way. Domina, gusto mo po tagatasi po gusto po niya na kay Ma'am Obiak. Ego cuma nang bataya. Ay ano sa pang-skota ko, hindi ko drop night, you with the Texas to from my sister Joyce. Was that drop night you go again? Musumpan, you go again. Ego, kaya di mo nang iniganan. I was a previous leader. Nikataw si kasi. I was vice chief for 6 years, 3 years band counselor. The portfolio I had was a health sector, 6 years. I got 3 years education. You took my health chiefs of Prince Albert Grand Council, Domina FSIN, and also AFN, the Shepherd First Nations. You get the scheme of health directors, you may education directors, you get you should stay, you get the start, we cheat over the annual Kayati, the scheme of I worked with numerous chiefs. You get the scheme of Chief Richie Bird, you get the scheme of Ango. Lionel Bird, the scheme of Ogamaga. Stacy, you big Shanama, Sasko, Vice Chief Henderson, Dean Henderson, the first in the Stamagi do that counselor, the Stamagi with a student new and whatever stay with the CBP. What I'm stay, what I make a move on with you on Gabbis. I'm a lay leader at the church Gabbis. No, I didn't do that. What I'm stay, we are probably not you, I make a move to do it. There's not too many leaders I see in church. The only time I see them is when there's a funeral and stuff like that. We still have to work together, no matter what. Udah ini kan yang nistamo tayo mas naigan yung sitana. Now, it was in council, we worked on a first ever elders book. And we had that, Julie with the UHC, Beverly, coming in that day. You come in, Kutagal, the UHC. You Tom nang pinilaan, Tom malang nakapag again. Bukit naman with you on. You are I guess you could be everybody that knows me here, always shake hands, not just election year. Tapi I was mad sad to run a team out there. Well, I was spots. You see, you see, yeah, but you see, not you looking. You got the national one, they got you that you be the unaged. Like now there's all the previous leaders look at that, that be the unaged. You say, you put a Namama, no time where my late parents lived after I lived. You go, not this week, but next week, in Nasa. Me and my wife were talking about it. We'll have a plan and burgers. So I'll say, put it on Facebook. You go now. Ito taman na on the 31st of March, we sawi kita together. So I'll say, they go try what I mean, in the last one mistake. Here again,
Getting Arnold. We got another nomination for another candidate for Montreal.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tyrone Bird, I'm Asian. I'm here to nominate Ellen Anderson. Some pretty good speeches. Probably not going to be able to follow any of that. But I just want to thank everybody here today. It's been a while since we've had gathered like this, for sure, since COVID, and all the previous leaders that are here, the ones that were previously elected. You guys did a good job with COVID and all the responses when the world was locked down. So with that, thank you very much. Didn't really plan to speech or anything, but just wanted to reflect on a few things on why I want to nominate Ellen Anderson. Yes, everybody knows me. We're all family. We grew up down the lake, and the resiliency of growing up down the lake and having that never giving up attitude has brought us here today. And you know, all the stuff that we've seen as kids, and a lot of us started growing up down the lake, and my auntie was always there feeding us, making sure our fees were washed, taking us out to school, and all that kind of stuff. So, and for that, leaving her coming from a far away with my cousins and stuff like that, never seen my mother, all that kind of stuff. So, for me, that is a good way that I think a leader should be, regardless of what outcomes they have in life. You gotta keep going regardless, and that's one thing my grandma always taught us. So I think, like I said, I didn't really come here with a good speech, but I'm doing good for time. But yeah, I just wanted to reflect on those few things, and my auntie has, I think she has way more to say than I do. So with that, I'll ask her to come up and say more than I can.
Can we have a seconder?
Hello, my name is Kai Helgen. I second the nomination of Ellen Anderson. Thank you.
If I can get Eleanor to come up.
Good evening, all visitors. I'm standing here thinking I can't believe I'm up here. I'm really nervous, to be honest. And it's what I was worried about to say, and I'm sorry to say that. I did have things that I wanted to say, but my mind has been all over these past few days. I was asking, or I was just wondering, okay, what is my passion? What do I feel that needs to be said or that needs to be heard? I will firstly give you a quick brief background. I'm obviously from Montreal Lake. I went to school. I have my degree in Bachelor of Indian Social Work. I got my grade 12 here in Montreal Lake. High school, I was raised down the lake from my mom, from a single mom, and she always taught us to work hard, get your education, and she always stressed that. She never allowed us to stay down too long. She always gave us encouragement. I had the opportunity to get funding to leave our reserve to go to school, to better myself, to better my children. And a little bit of that, living off reserve, they need a lot of acknowledgement to the post-secondary students. When I was a student with 4 kids, I was only getting $1,400. And somehow we made that work. If it wasn't for some good family members, Tyrone, my son, and my children for sticking by me, I don't think I would have accomplished it. I remember there were days when I would go to university and I had classes in Saskatoon, and I used to take my youngest daughter with me to go to school. I had no money. I left one pack of meat at home and figured it out from there. So this one day, I'll share this quickly, I had the Shopper Optimum card, and I had maybe $12, and I knew we had to pay taxes with that. So I went and got my daughter some her lunch. We went back to class, and I remember sitting there crying and thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I here? I should be working. And then she gave me a half a sandwich, and she told me, Mom, it's going to be okay. And she stuck through me. I took her to university sometimes because I didn't have a sitter. I was thankful that my professors allowed that and allowed her to sit in university. So the way I see it, she's got half a degree too, because she was with me there half the time. And then I was off reserve for about 20 years. We stayed at the Y. We were homeless. We couldn't come home due to overcrowding in my mom's house. So we struggled to live in the urban setting. And when I say struggle, it was, sometimes we laugh about it, some of the things that we went through. We actually remember sitting there one day, our power got cut off, and I didn't have no money to pay for power, so we sat in the candles, and that's when I ended up having to stay at the Y, me and my 3 daughters. But through that all, I just thought, there has to be something better. There has to be more. So I kept moving forward with my life to strive for that education. And I worked off reserve for about 10 years. I commuted, and I got tired, so I came home. And I started working behind the scenes within the community. I worked with the agency, Child and Family. I worked on the sub-office in Little Red. And my position that I did at the agency was working for our children in care. We had, when I was there with the off-reserve position, we had over 300 children that were lost in the system. And I used to wonder who can be their voice, who can be their advocate. And when I come down to it, that's my passion, my background is social work. And we did the behind the scene, the crisis team, the first team, we got together and we worked hours 24/7 and we volunteered our time. And what I realized is that our people just wanted to be heard. They wanted to have their story shared. They just needed a voice. And nothing was so hard sitting there watching our people with no hope. And then I took a break from social work for a bit to come back. And then lately I've been working the social program. And I reopened my heart again because I knew I had to take time off. I did hit burnout, and that was a hard thing for me being a professional to admit that I needed help. And then just seeing and hearing the struggles and the people coming into my office now and talking to me and feeling because my hands are tied, I can't, there's only so much I can do, right, because of my position. But I have a very supportive boss who cares just as much, you know, for our people. We have over 600 clients on assistance. And it's hard to see, you know, these young people, you know, who are struggling, but just need that chance, need somebody to listen, need that extra hand. And so for me, I guess that's where I'm coming from. You know, I may not be the best candidate, but I know we need compassion to be a leader. We need to be understanding. We have to be willing to listen and hear. And it is just meeting those 5 basic needs of our people. In order to fix our community, we have to start within the home system. We have to start bringing our people home. We have to give our people a reason to be proud again to be from Montreal Lake, to give them back their roots, to give them hope. And for me, I think, you know, we're still having our children get adopted out. Who's their voice? You know, we forget about all the little people. We forget about our elders sometimes. And that's where my compassion comes, is just wanting to help and wanting to support and to do the best I can, you know, for our community. And just be there. You know, that's all I can say. I can't believe I'm so nervous. I thought I had it all in my head, but I guess I don't, you know, so it's I'm just kind of trying to wing it, but I feel like I'm jumping all over. I'm sorry for that. There's so much more that I can say. But at the end of the day, in order to help our people, we really just have to get back to the basics. We really got to get back into those homes. We got to do home visits because they have the answers. We have the answers. We're here. We have so much people out there with post-secondary degrees. Why can't we bring them home? Why can't we employ them? You know, why can't we just give them the reason to come back home and be proud of where they're from? So for now, that's all I have to say. I hope it made sense. I'd like to thank my children for being here. My grandkids were here earlier, but yeah, they were getting angsty and hungry. And I hope, I wish, you know, good luck to everybody who's running. Respect to all of you. Thank you for the opening prayer from the elder. Safe travels for everybody, you know, once they go home. And again, thank you for your time and for listening. And I guess on March 31st, you know, I ask for your support, and we will be doing some home visits. And I look forward to that and just getting back to that. So again, thank you for your time.
I'd like to get somebody up to nominate another program member. Sorry,
Good evening, everybody. I just want to start off by saying it's great to see everybody that's here. I haven't seen many of these faces. I just come back home after leaving the community to work elsewhere in other communities. To introduce myself, I know everybody knows me, but just for the record, Jared Nelson, a proud member of Montreal Lake Sk Nation. I'm still an active land user, a trapper, a hunter, a fisherman. land-based teaching, specifically with youth and land-based healing for young adults and adults. And today I'm here to nominate Alan Conrad Nitao, that Conrad guy. Conrad approached me probably a couple weeks ago. And I can honestly say it's an honor to be here to nominate Conrad. I'm kind of one of these guys that likes to remain out of the spotlight. I like to stay, in the forest, in the bush. But I'm also an active participant in community events. I believe in our leadership, not just elected leaders, but leaders within our community actively participating and taking part in community events. Because I don't see a lot of that anymore. So, being very observant, I've been in the political field for 9 years, and I no longer want anything to do with it, so good luck to everybody. And I've been watching Conrad. Like I said, I watch people, I see how they live their lifestyle, how approachable they are, how active they are. Many of our community events, I see Conrad there doing exactly what he's doing right now, recording these events, because many of our people don't have ways of getting here to come and see this, to be a part of this. I personally like to see a bigger crowd in here. Growing up, I've always seen hundreds of people packed in here and people standing against the walls. So communication, how our elected leaders, our future leaders in Montreal Lake Nation, reaching out to our membership, not just in Montreal Lake, but in our urban sector, in Little Red, because that's one of the biggest challenges, and I think all of us learned that through going through COVID. So the communication barrier, where is that? And I'm sorry to my Uncle Willie, but we got a Cree translator, and we're going to go Facebook Live with stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I like to, it's political business, I'll put it that way, can be frustrating and it can divide people. I've seen it, I've felt it, I've been through it. But every one of you, I'm still friends with you. I still appreciate everything you've done because it takes a team effort. And I hope the best for everybody that's elected, that we work together for the one common goal, to work for our people, because at the end of the day, and I've heard it many times, all my life, the youth are our future. What are we actually doing for the youth? So that team approach where we have to do stuff for the youth, I can see, and it's one of the many reasons I come up here, because I see my uncle taking care of his family first and foremost. Because if you don't have the family support and the backing of your wife and your kids, or your partner and your kids, that doesn't mean a lot, because I've been through it all, I've seen it all. And to have that family backing, you need it. You really do. Because at the end of the day, when your political career is done, who do you have left at home? And sometimes you can't forget about those people. Another thing I've seen with my uncle is all the boards and the past committees that he sat on during my time here at home. He was always one of those guys that showed up, he communicated, he asked those important questions, and he relayed that information to others that asked him. And I think we need to see more of that, more transparency. Another thing I've always seen with my Uncle Conrad is the teamwork. And I'm running out of time here. So, with that, I'd just like to say good luck to all the candidates, and March 31st, vote Alan Conrad Nitao. Thanks.
Candidate Jared. And the secretary.
And say all, Peter McDonald, 3503. And I'm here to second
Pitao.
Thank you, Derek. If I could get the candidate to come and accept and do his presentation. Thank you.
Turn it on.
Good afternoon. I'd like to first thank the elder that gave us a prayer earlier. And all the elders, all the former leaders that are here today also. And the incumbents that are running for re-election. I'd like to wish them luck also. And I'd also like to thank my nominator, Jared Nelson. And also Dirk Renal. I was a youth navigator, and Derek is our current navigator coordinator. I ask you too, because I do admire their work and what they've been doing for the past number of years, how they have helped our leaders, helped our youth, sorry. And they are role models in our community, and I respect them for that. But then I want to note what I have been. Even in asking, ito gusto biya ano. Gusto ba ginagawa dito? Yung modo sabi kita ng student mutaas mi. And what I'm relating is that there's not that many anymore that can recognize or understand what I'm saying, because we are using our language as a days go by. And one of the important things is that we preserve that. And we are the woodland people. And it's, I think maybe 50 years ago, every single person in these gatherings, they all spoke and understood Cree. And today, there's probably not as many as that speak the language. And can you imagine, like in 50 years, like how many are actually going to speak it? And that's why we need to think about our programs, such as the Cree language programs that are available today. I'm in a group called Cree Language Project, and Charlotte Ross is doing her PhD, and we meet at least once a month. And we're working on an app through a Lake Sk, where you can actually teach through the cell phone, and we've been playing with that. It's kind of hard to do it because we've got to use our audio program, we've got to use the pictures and internet and all that, so it's been interesting to learn, interesting to have, and we're still developing that. And as Jared said, I've been in a number of committees, a number of boards, and I think ACFS, so it's been probably 10 years almost, and Police Management Board, and also the membership, and also Justice Committee as a chair, and probably a couple more that I forgot. And that's where I'm thinking that I can actually do the job as a leader. And even many years ago, when it was hard not living a proper lifestyle, one of my first jobs were around maintenance, and the second job was actually here through maintenance of the school. And over the years, it was harder to keep going because of the addictions that I had. And those were the challenges that we all face now.
But there were people that actually believed in me at the time, and those people I do appreciate now, even though there were little things that they did, but that helped me to sober up and be live a more healthy lifestyle. And one of the things that kind of bothered me is the way that we have kind of a new set of elders in a sense that are in our community. And those are, like they're 40, maybe 30, maybe some of them are even 20 years old. And they are the ones that are addicted to our drugs in Montreal Lake. And I think we need to do something a little bit different. We can't just, walk in there and say, like quit selling drugs or, doing this. We need to do something else that is more unique. And they are people do, and they are, just like one of us. And the opportunities that we have in our community, it's open to everybody. We have to give them and others a chance to play their part and to continue to educate and to continue to train our people so they could compete in the outside world. And I think of like SAS Power, SAS Tel, SAS Energy. They're just right next door. And how many of our people work there? Maybe one or two. But those are one of the things that we need to do is we need to be able to stand and sit with the big shots, I guess you would call them, and not be afraid to approach them and not be afraid to think of programming. And we need to choose leaders that think progress, who think partnerships, and who think make money. And one of my plans is to help create those partnerships. And also our elders, there's not very many of our elders, and some of these gummies here is keeping me. Anyways, we don't have too many elders left, and there's not too many that speak there's only like a small number, maybe 40-year-olds that speak the language here in Montreal Lake. And but we are Cree people, and that's what makes us unique. And I think that we should actually do even more. We can do even more to preserve our language and our customs. So one of my goals is to continue to expand on that word like really language group that we are in. And the community-based programs, like we were just talking about with Jared and the other people that are in that, that's actually quite hard, and I respect what they do, and that's what we need to keep promoting and preserve it and keep it going. And the other thing too that I'd like to mention is when we see people walking around here, community events, the cooks and all that, and those people at the church, like there's nothing wrong with stepping up and giving them a hand, and a lot of it is just goes unnoticed. So there's nothing wrong with stepping up and give them a hand, and you don't even ask if you're doing something right, and if you're being respectful, and they will accept your help. And the weather is going to be warmer soon, and I worry about our young people because there's more interaction, there's more drug activity that is open to when they start getting around. And
what we need to do is we need to watch our children even closer and try to keep them away because a lot of them are vulnerable at this time. And it's sad to see someone suffer in a drug addiction when they're young. And I had a whole bunch of stuff written in Cree. It's actually quite mesmerizing to read. So for now, I'd just like to thank you for all the time that you've given me, and thank you for listening. I would like to request that you support me on March 31st, 2023 for council. Thank you.
He's already done. Where's the shirt?
What?
You didn't put that shirt on.
That's no chicken.
You did.
Thank you, Conrad. The floor is now open for candidate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Stephen, I almost forgot. I'm up here to nominate Stephen Stack for on reserve council. So I'll just quickly say a little about what I know about Stephen. I've worked with him in the past for a couple of years at the agency setting. We closely worked together on the crisis team. We had a great team. That's where we built a strong connection. And with Clifford Bird, who was part of our team, and Buddy Bird, we had a lot of serious moments together, but also a lot of laughs. And I think that's how we managed to, work together as a team. And that's where I see his work ethics come out, his compassion that he had for our people. He didn't hesitate to get up 3 o'clock in the morning. If I called him, he would jump. If Cliff called him, he would be there. He didn't have an issue sitting in the hospital for hours with our band members who were struggling with mental health issues or addictions. I know he's a foster parent. He's adopted a few children, him and his wife. I know he's a hard worker. He's a good provider. Most importantly, he has compassion and he cares for our people. He would give his jacket off, he would give it to a person and, without asking. He would feed people. He would take groceries out of his house and give it to somebody if they needed it. And I'm sure he must have frustrated his wife a few times by doing that. Payday, and he was already broke. I was used to have a joke with him and Cliff because, I know he used to probably frustrate their wives and then they would, kind of vent to me sometimes. So kudos to the wives as well, to our team that we had. So with that, that's all I can say about Stephen, and then I'll let him do the rest.
If I can hear from the seconder for Stephen.
And I second Stephen's.
Thank you, Andrea. And Mr. Snaps.
Fordi hvad skal man sådan noget til Montreal Lake Sk. Det skal bare mistä mä voin nyt. Mä taitsin minä jos lasku. Koska kita saya tetap semua. Tapi ingat lagi, mistä pieni liikin mana kanilo ya kabiswa. Thank you, Senator, for nominating me, my seconder, in such short notice. To Zambia. accountability. They would give a man with our chief and council. Accountability to the membership, to report to the membership. There was all programs. They got money with Itamak. Sometimes I got to go to consider with Itamak there. Take the mother who is to what's we got the mother who was staying. We pick up with you when you're what you're going to be doing. But I just want to go back a few years. I don't know. Iya itu mana? Itu aku cakap mo. Kami dulu ini nama kita pakai dulu kita nama. Kita orang Estonia. I'd like to say that again. I'd really like to push that. So we don't have to get stuck. Kamu tahu mana Estonia? I just like to acknowledge that. To be open and honest. I've done a lot of that. No, we give you a many Ross, that's the one. I give you a big work. I think I asked me to run one. We did some of that too when we got residential school. We did I asked me, it's not my own, that's easy, that's good. We've been with me, even if we scan, I got by it. Musik Ipian man. Tol Grimseva. Stipian. Where's that's going to not say on a monument. He got to the place and he got to the day. Oh, yeah. So I must be a kid in my house. And he went to drugs with that. The same as keeping in my house. Men he went to it. Everyone got to so not take work. I don't think that's going to be able. The last time standing, that man. And I'm proud of that. I am very proud of that. Even to the UN. One of the healthy things that I'd like to say is I'm glad I'm sober today. I don't drink, I don't do drugs. Now I promote that healthy stuff. I wouldn't have been here if I wasn't able to forgive. I had to forgive. It's been not to forgive, it's been many poems. We started with you, and I'm going to be square. No, we keep down with that so much. Niloya. You got to residential school. Naskoman. Kapena Naskoman is here. Nidia. One of the foremost other steps is the children to have a safe place. I use my house as a safe place. I don't see where's Gatino. That's what they see there. Yeah, somebody took out a was. However, my history of the booty, that's what they see there. The addict, keep the admin, that's what they see there. But it is not, it's going to be a deal. Would not be done to up. So I keep promoting that. Accessibility to our mental health. I see some stuff there. My, Naskamona knows. That's it. Look at my eat with that. No, we're getting a change. We're getting a change. And took that away, I see the away. Yes, see the away, I'm about to do. First thing was got you. He just about at least button, question about this button. Moving away, passing now. We did the piece with our way. It was done when you did. The guy didn't get to help and support the community center for the adults. Jeg mener, vi tilbage i skattebank, der bingo stilling i dødet. Der er ikke skattebank. the elders, the adults. Yeah. You know, about the mountain, we haven't found my mind blank. Yeah, it's again. I want to advocate for the people. The biggest thing would be amazing. I know with your help, he's going to be doing that. I'll advocate for all these money to come on. I'll be up and go there. Looking in Scotty, Stephen, that's what he said. You guys know David C. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I think that's a bad. I want to take a with him. They would take me with you on. And so I got to tag me, say. I'm also about to come to you, yeah. For the ones that I'm going to translate that for when I get into council, I would like to advocate more for the people that come and ask for help when they have a hard time with life situations. Even have a committee, Tatsuma, how do we help the people that are struggling? You know, it doesn't have to be council. It could be anyone from our reserve that wants to help, sincerely wants to help. And that door's open. I've asked to be in the selection committee. And the elections came up. Our sawmill. We have a sawmill in the back there, I don't know what it is. We can make money with that sawmill up there. And it's sitting idle. That bothers me. That's what they used to believe. I don't know what they used to go. It's not agua. Por eso me hice palita. But we can get going. They were going to agua. We had pescado in the sawmill. I worked in 3 different sawmills. Those trees are money makers, and we have a lot of them. Well, to be still but there's still a lot of trees. We have a channel and there's some yagi. The trampolines, our treaty rates. Well, there's something else I can be talking about. Do you know what our treaty rates are? We have hunting and fishing too. What else do we have? Mods, they couldn't talk to me about or tell me what our treaty rates are. And we have a lot. We have a lot of treaty rates. Why can't we have a book in each house, Apple? You know, let the parent be the teacher. To teach our children what our rights are. Treaty rights today. Mistake but they're also being eroded. We pay tax in PA now or anywhere. Offers are. Our fishing and hunting. Yeah, but I'm going to listen to Facebook. I go, who's going to speak for us out there? If we won't go out there and go look for help, a big speak to Manwag. That takes no while about to us. And say, that's somebody I will say, that's somebody's master. How do we teach our children to live from home? We have to be parents. We have to be the teachers. It's no while to us to teach our children. I want to say that I'm approachable. I'm a team player. I can work in a team. And it doesn't matter if get me angry. Once we walk out that door from that meeting place, that's a place to shake hands again. You leave once you sit back at the meeting, not carried out. The other one, I vedasek. Ega naskavad ei lugu, et tegi piitsite, aga see on liitus, ma ei saa käske liigu monta. Gymnasium, apitoimus. Let's get our people involved, especially our youth. Well, the meeting to go guns. I was hoping there'd be a lot of youth there. Got to do that now. So they know the process that's in the least of it. Then we get into the next one. It supports you 100%. That's what I got to easy. Look at the meantime. I think it's a school. That's what we got to see. Sleep the end into the I sent them to Carol because I don't know what to say. She's a baby school, yeah. Then you go back into we got every second way, but I want to have a different matter and council to get in, like I could take a matter and again. That's the one. And to all the other people that are running, good luck to everyone. Where's going to be time now?
To all the chief and council candidates and all their nominators, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here tonight. And I also want to acknowledge our membership back at home. We're watching through this live broadcast, and I want to say to Tamarick that I got a text from my friend. Well, you know, my friend Fonz texted me, and he wanted me to tell Tamarick that he's a single parent too, and he's got a lot of kids, so he'll into them. But in all seriousness, I wanted to say to him how proud I am of him for coming up here to express himself. As you've heard a lot tonight, it's not easy to come up here and speak to our membership. And with that being said, I want to acknowledge all the chief and council candidates and all their nominators, and how brave they have to be to put their name forward and come speak to you. My late father-in-law, he was a really good man, honorable man. And one of the things he used to say is that if you're nervous about something, it means it matters to you. So listening to each of those candidates talk, the nominators, how important our fellow membership is to them, how much passion they have in wanting to become a leader, listening to all their past accomplishments, all their future ideas. I just wanted to say that it doesn't matter who gets it, I'm proud to be from Montreal Lake. I was down in, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Norman Ross, son of Norman Sr. here, known as Customer and Hilda Ross. And I'm here to nominate Ricky Bird for council. I was down in Texas on a pilgrimage praying with tribes all across Canada and the US. And I kept my phone off because of data roaming, but I turned my phone on one day and I got a call from Ricky, and I knew it must have been important, so I answered it. And he had asked me to support him, and I didn't hesitate. I said, of course I would. And when I got off the phone, I talked to my wife, and I felt real honored that he asked me that. So all this time later, I traveled back up here, and here I am, proud to support Ricky. I'm the project manager at the Montreal Lake Housing Program, so I'm able to see him at work on a daily basis. And since he's taken office, housing has received more funding every single year that he's been in office. In fact, this year is the most money Montreal Lake Housing is going to receive in its history. It's all because of Rick's advocacy. Something I'm real one of the things that made me real proud to be here, why I accepted without question. In fact, because of that advocacy for not just our homeless, but for those families that need homes, are overcrowding, offers of membership that wants to come home. This year alone, we're going to build close to 20 new units. Most of those which will be 5-bedroom houses, all because of Rick cared enough to fight for that. Something, again, I get to see firsthand. And speaking about it, it comes from a legacy of well-respected leaders. And I don't want to mention names right now, but his late uncles and his late grandfather, they instilled in us that as leaders, all your actions when you put on that leadership hat should be for the people and for the children. And one of the sayings was, that's the kids' money. Rick also shared that sports and rec portfolio with Dean. And through his participation and his actions, he is without a doubt for the kids. It's for those reasons and many more that I stand here proud to support Rick. And on March 31st, I ask you to stand with me and elect Ricky D. Bird for council.
Thank you, Laura. If I could have a seconder, please.
Good evening. Brett Nominator, I second the nomination for Ricky Ebert.
Good evening, elders, membership, fellow candidates, and the deputy electoral officers. I'd like to start out by thanking the Creator for giving us this beautiful day today. Also, I want to thank Mila for opening us up with a prayer. I'd like to thank my nominator, Norman Ross Jr., and seconder, Ben Maytawa. Thank you, boys. As a candidate, I am seeking re-election for the position of on-reserve councillor for the Montreal Lake Nation. For those that don't know me, I'm the grandson of late Senator Alan Bird and late Sally Victoria Bird. My mom is Beverly Bird, and my father is late Rick Nelson from Yakima. Just a little bio. I didn't write my bio. Everybody's reading their bio, so I'm going to wing it. I graduated from school here in 2002. After that, I was your radio jockey here in Montreal Lake for 9 years. I was a day security at the same time. After that, I worked here at the school 4 years as a TA. They're now known as EAs, educational assistants, and then 2 years as the liaison officer for the Senator Allen Bird Memorial School. And then COVID hit, so I just happened to put my name in for the by-election, and I made it. I got in, so thank you for that, for voting me in that last term. It has been an honor and a humbling experience serving my community and membership these past 2.5 years. I would also like to thank the past leadership. You see many of them sitting around here. Thank you for what you guys did for the past. And I also want to thank the team I worked with. Chief Joyce, Vice Chief, Troy, Carol, the 2 little red girls, Charmaine, Alyssa, and Melvin. You guys taught me lots in my 2.5 years as counselor, so thank you for that. I'd also like to thank my family and friends for their support and guidance as I seek re-election. Working through COVID the past 2.5 years was a real challenge for the team, but through trial and tribulations, we pulled through. As a band counselor, one of the portfolios I held was housing.
a very challenging portfolio for a first-time counselor. Everybody wants a house. Everybody needs a house. Like, you see education, all these portfolios, but at the end of the day, they have to go home to a house, right? So one of the most challenging portfolios I held was the housing. But with that, it was an honor working with a great team, which made my job a lot easier. So just to name off a few of the staff, I'd like to thank Neil Ross, our housing manager. Also, you guys may have seen them in your houses. Our maintenance men, Lloyd Roberts, Martin Ross, and James Chewy. They were the ones that are our maintenance men. Frida, our new tenant clerk. Caroline Puckett, our filing clerk, and Jennifer Charlesburg, our secretary. Thank you. Our goal at the housing was to have more houses. And like my nominator stated, this year has been the highest number of dollars that we received for housing, which was $4.2 million, which would bring up to 20 homes, most of them fiveplexes. Also, the staff at the housing, they're working on our home ownership policy and then revamping our housing policy to deal with the gang members, home takeovers, drug dealing, and the problem that I didn't hear anybody talk about, but they talk about a lot, is dogs. We have a dog problem here, street dogs, so that's a big part of the home ownership there. So, yeah, I just come parking up front today. I seen 2 dogs with a rope stuck around their neck. So they were tied up at one point, but they got loose. So with that, yeah, housing, it's one of the hardest portfolios you can hold. Education is important to our youth and children. And I'm very proud to see my friends here, Joe, Jared, and she's not here, but Larsa for our land-based teachings. Also our Cree language and culture. For that, I'm happy the kids will have a fun time here learning. As in the past, we never had a land, we did have nature and culture, but I think we just went to the backyard and sit stairs. That's all I can remember doing back in the day. For our nature and culture program. And I'm happy the kids will learn the ways of our woodland culture. I will continue to support and help out our community gatherings and events. I will continue to support our committees and boards. And I will fight for our treaty inherent rights to hunt, trap, and fish. I remember at one meeting, Dean was telling me about hunting. They have to say you're going hunt down something, they have to phone and make like a reservation to go hunt. Like, say you want to go on a Saturday, they say no, you come out Tuesday at 2 o'clock or something, and that's wrong. We have our treaty inherent rights that they're being infringed upon. Also, when my nominator Norman, you guys know I am a big advocate for youth. I still coach as a counselor, I was still coaching. Our youth need more guidance and support. And through the sport and recreation program, we are doing that. They need to know that we are here for them, we care. Also, a little on the youth, on the sports and rec, we do have grants for the kids which come from the Big Fish Derby. So I'd like to thank the Sports and Recreation Board for what they do for our youth. Also, the violence, gangs, and addictions in our community need to be addressed. We are doing what we can, but we need to do more. These people are our community members. We need to help them. We need to be there for them. The safety and health of our membership should be our main priorities as leaders. Leadership needs to work as a team, not against each other. They need to work as one, unity. And I'm proud to say, I was part of a team that did that. And a few of you mentioned our elders that need to be brought home. We should be having to take our elders to the Herb Bassett home. We should have our own facility here in Montreal Lake. And I do believe, I think the past leadership were working on that, so I'm happy to say that with the new health center opening, we have that building available for, hopefully, should be for our elders, so they don't have to be away from their families for long periods of time. Our elders are knowledge keepers, and we need to respect and love them. Nation building is a key. Nation building is key to have a successful and thriving nation. We have to work together as unity. Montreal Lake, Little Red, and Off Reserve, which is like all the cities, Timber Bay, Weaquin, Malnosa, we all need to work as one. We are all one Cree nation, and we should not exclude anyone or any program. Health. I know, I can't even care enough for what she did for the health program. She brought a lot of money for her programs. I know I say housing is probably the hardest one, but her, with the health program, having 12 or 13 good program under her. Thank you, Carol. A lot of good has come out of this program, but I feel there still needs to be a little bit more for men's wellness, for the men and the youth. Our social development portfolio is a program that just money in, money out. Once a month, and I'd like to thank Val for all she's done these past years for our social development program. Thank you, Val. It made our jobs a lot easier as leadership. Like the past 2 years during COVID, there was extra money that was given to social clients. COVID money that people are calling it, but now, like the last couple of months, it was IRF income relief funds, I think they were called. So thank you, Val. So moving forward, we need to work on better communication, like monthly meetings at the committee level, with these committees having one youth, one elder, and one woman on these committees. And to my fellow candidates, I pray we have a clean and safe campaign. And on March 20th to 21st, the voting will be online, so you can go to the One Feather site. And on once again, I'd like to thank my nominator, Norman, and my seconder, Brent. Thank you, brothers. So to my friends, I humbly and respectfully ask for your support. And I also forgot to mention, I'm going to be having going house to house during my campaign, and I'll be having a supper on March 23rd at my mom's, and that day is her birthday, so come join us, please. So I humbly and respectfully ask for your support March 31st. Please vote me Ricky D. Bird for Montreal Lake Council.
So you all know Frank isn't able to be here, but we are going to leave the floor open for his nominator and seconder. If there is one, come up.
Hi, my name is Dixie Bird. I'm from Montreal Lake Sk. I'm so glad to come home. I'm always glad to come home. You know, this feels good. I love Montreal Lake regardless of any situation that we're in. We're all in this together. We all are, even the dogs. So, Frank had came to me about a month ago when we got the Treaty 6 adhesion on February 11th. I got an invite from our urban councilor at the time to come and join, and I'm so grateful to come. Yeah, it's just currently I'm in school, university, and you come up and approach me. he said, are you ready? I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to finish my school, finish my education. Got one more year, taking Indigenous Studies, and my major is reconciliation. You know, that's one of the fights that our people is going to have to do when they get selected to be our new leaders come March 31st. I was surprised when Frank called me yesterday. He told me about his heart attack. I was speechless. And then I prayed. After we talked, I prayed and was smudged. And then he called again 20 seconds later. And he said, I changed my mind and talked to one of these guys here. And they said I could run. The heart is precious. I've learned and I've heard some of the people that have experienced something close to that stroke. Anyways, aside from that, I just want to read off on what you can tell I'm a student. When I left Montreal Lake, I didn't need something in front of me. But as a student, you have to be in the right, so here goes. If I can get this correct, bear with me. So, Frank is he's a family man. He was born March 30th, 1958. He's been married for 38 years. He has daughters and sons that are blessed with many children, many grandchildren. And he's been raised by his grandparents on the land. His education is in 2003 Eco-Tourism Certificate at SciAst. 1985 to 88, University of Saskatchewan. 1977-78, grade 12, Carleton Comprehensive High School in PA. Man, there were a lot of racists at that time. His work experience, over 12 years experience on council with numerous portfolios. One term as chief, sat on numerous band and commissions within PAGC and FSIN. Some of the highlights I want to share with you with Frank's experiences. He was on MLCN childcare legislation ongoing. When he told me that, I didn't understand what he was talking about, but I did share with him that I do have a niece that I want to bring home who's in foster care. That's one of my mom's dying wishes, was to bring her home. And I shared that with him. And it felt mutual. You know, I felt connected to him when he told me about that. And yeah, I'm grateful for that. I have really no idea what that means. And I'm really straightforward and honest with that. I still need to talk to him about that one. But the love of the connection is there. He's got, some of the highlights are Ammo and Twine Settlement, Youth Center for Bill Red and MLCN. He's president band and committees, MLCN Detox board member. That's amazing, detox. It's something I wish I had when I was under the influence of alcohol and drugs. I'm a survivor. I'm grateful for that. And we still need to help our people. And the strong ones are the ones that have that experience. I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of what I have gone through. As a matter of fact, I'm grateful to be here today. And if it wasn't for the dreams that I had, then to help me through, I wouldn't. So thank you for that.
Hi, my name is Eli Roberts, and I'm the second year for Frank Roberts.
So having received all eligible nominations for councillor, I hereby close the floor for the nominations for councillor. Just want to do a little couple of reminders. Electors and candidates are advised that there will be an election on March 31st, 2023. Electronic voting will start on March 20th, 2023, but there will be no advanced polls, since electronic polling and multiple physical polling are available. And all notices and voting event information is located online on the One Feather website and can be requested directly from the electoral officer. So I hereby close this nomination meeting at 9:07 p.m. in Montreal Lake.